welcome to the podcast. This is Cory. I've been on a couple times. I got an intro for you, or more of a summary of the movie. Quote, I know Kung Fu. End quote. All right, let's wrap it up.
All right.
You're not going to believe this, but in my intro, I was going to say, I'm Ben Holt and I know Kung Fu.
Oh, wow.
But now it just sounds like I'm copying
Stole
you.
the thunder.
I've been thinking about this for like 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm going to start it and say,
Okay.
I know Kung Fu.
Right there.
Oh, do you have,
So I even put it in a document.
yeah, I want to see the document history and see
No.
when you wrote that. Because I have,
Did you hear me
I saw
type it?
creative-
it.
Clicky clacky.
His silent keys.
Well, this is as good as any intro because I don't know how to really start yet, but it's going to be something along the lines of that. Or welcome to Late to the Movies, a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Every week, we'll pick a movie that either I or a guest hasn't seen before, but really should have by now. I'm Ben Holt, and I know Kung Fu. This week, we're going to talk about all of the Matrix movies, including the one that hasn't come out yet as we're recording this. Quick programming note up top. We're recording half of the episode now. We're going to go see the movie in a few days when it comes out, and then we're going to record it another half of the episode after that to include Resurrections. But for now, this first part's going to be just about the original trilogy. So just so you guys know out there listening what's happening, that's what's happening. Here with, from left to right, Robbie, Noah, and Cory. What's up, guys?
Hey, we're just going to overlook how Ben just like kind of took my opening phrase.
I know what you're
slapped it
talking
in there
about.
and was like, oh, this is mine.
I have a question about the opening phrase. So, like, is that an ironic opening phrase, or are you going to change the opening phrase? It's been
What,
like,
that I know Kung Fu?
well, no,
It's not ironic. I
this
do
is-
know Kung Fu.
This has been.
Oh,
waiting through,
okay.
waiting through
I
the
don't
movies.
actually know Kung Fu then.
I'm
Yeah,
just kind of curious.
I don't either.
No, you don't know either. Oh.
The people don't know.
I don't know what
Well,
you're
now they
talking
know.
about.
All right. Well, never mind. Moving on.
Wait, going off of that, is the intro, I don't know what the intro is? Maybe that's the intro.
Well, that's what I like. Is that just going to be the running intro?
Yeah.
Are you going to change it?
Oh yeah, I feel like every time you're like, yeah, I don't really know how to start this, and then
maybe-
we say some like stupid shit, and
but
it
maybe
makes
that's
sense.
it, though.
Then we say some stupid shit. That's the whole podcast. We say an hour and a half
You're
of stupid
right.
shit.
And it's hilarious and for some reason enjoyable.
But all that being said, I really don't know what you guys are talking about.
All right. Awesome.
Carry on.
We have our answer.
All right, next.
Before we get into all the Matrix movies, which I'm kind of worried about time-wise how long that's going to take, but we'll see. We'll find out. I still want to start with just talking about what you guys have been watching. It's been a little while since we've all been on a pod together, even though we've done a few of these. So I'm curious what you guys have been checking out lately.
I did just rewatch The Boys because I heard filming for season 3 ended, and I'm very excited. For
I never
season
watched
3
the
to come
second
out.
season.
Oh,
I
you gotta
didn't
watch the
either.
second
I
season.
forgot about it. You watched the
Yeah,
first?
I did.
I told people at work to watch
Yeah.
The Boys, and I was like, "Oh, let me rewatch this. Make sure I gave a good recommendation." I was like, I gave a fire recommendation. It's so good.
It is very good.
I recently watched Hellbound. Did I watch any movies? I don't think I watched any movies. Per usual.
Yeah, per
Outside
usual.
of The Matrix, all three.
Yeah.
I watched Die Hard.
Yeah, that's right. Good.
That's all my
Yippee-ki-yay,
movies have
brother.
just been movies that you guys are doing podcasts on. So
Yeah, here in like the fledgling state of this podcast, even just other people who are just on different episodes, if they tell me that, like, oh, I listened to that episode, it made me watch that movie, it gets me like really excited. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
super stoked that you liked
it made me excited. I enjoyed it.
Die Hard. Impossible not to get excited whilst watching. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it was great.
And yeah, like you said, I'm always really sort of anytime I give a recommendation to someone and I'm like, oh, this is like one of my favorite movies ever, you gotta check it out. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, I need to watch that before they do just to make sure.
Just gotta make sure. I can send him a text real quick, like, sorry, that wasn't. I should have said. Yeah,
I really liked it when I was a kid. It was a different time. I'm sorry.
2020 vision and all that. Oh no,
That-
it's 2020.
That might make him want to like watch it more, though. I feel like if someone did
He's
that
like,
to me, I'd be like,
"Ah."
oh, maybe I do.
Now I've
wanna
got
watch
something
it.
I could hold over them if
I-
it's terrible.
It's a technique.
Hey, remember that terrible thing you love?
It's like-
Damn it.
Sucked.
It's like all blackface. Why did you like this so much?
Where did you even find it?
And then you like spin something like that was educational. I think you really needed to watch that.
It's only available on Fox. I can't.
This period of time, I get really into this.
Yeah, so I watched Spider-Man No Way Home last night.
Oh yeah.
I heard it was incredible. Was it? Oh, that's a no.
I don't. Well, literally. So, if you're listening to this on the feed, whatever podcast app you use, then Spider-Man: No Way Home came out almost 2 weeks ago. But if you are someone that's in this room right now, it just came out yesterday, so I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. But yeah, no, I had a good time. It was like an actual fun movie experience. The theater, it was a good theater, really hot crowd. They were cheering for the right things.
Listen,
And people were
I'm not going to the theater. Should I watch it or not? Is it the best Spider-Man movie to come out?
No.
Outside of the
fourth,
animated
maybe?
one.
Counting the animated one?
No, not counting.
No, okay. So just the live action ones. Homecoming of the Tom Holland ones is better. Maybe the first Andrew Garfield. I think both of those Andrew Garfield ones are kind of just poorly directed, even though I really like Andrew Garfield.
Yep. I have a lot of feelings on it as well, but I'm keeping them to myself.
And then the first two Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies are definitely better than this. But it's a lot of like crowd pleasing stuff. Even though anyone that you could guess is in this movie, you are correct. They are in this movie, or not. Maybe if you're still worried about spoilers.
I only saw the first one, so I don't give a shit who's in it.
Yeah, there was one actual like surprising cameo early. But that was fun. I don't know. There was a lot of like logical problems, but it just really depends if you are going to buy in. If you're like a fan and you want to check out something that's going to serve you and make you excited as a fan, this definitely does that. But, it's a lot of kind of inconsistent stuff and, not to spoil it too much, but it ends in like a really surprising spot, to be fair to the movie, and it does some cool stuff. I don't know.
Nice.
So a normal action movie.
Yeah, the people who were in it that were like, oh, wow, yeah, whoa, what a surprise this person's here. It's like not just cameos, they're in it a very long time and are like a really important part of the movie, which was that part was legitimately cool to see. So
That's pretty cool. How many people dressed up as Spider-Man at the
I don't know. There was a decent amount. It wasn't like dressed up as Spider-Man, but like Spider-Man merch. There was a lot of that, like hoodies that, have red and black webs on them and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool.
It was a good time.
But you know who's in the Matrix?
Spider-Man.
The best person ever. Keanu Reeves.
I have one
overall person, like just in general.
He might be my favorite person ever.
I have
that's fucked up.
One
man.
bullet
I
point.
live one room over. You have a mother.
I do.
But yeah,
it's Keanu Reeves.
I love my mom.
Since we're doing the whole trilogy now, I didn't do too much plot stuff in my notes, but I do have one note that just says Keanu, and then the bullet under that is he perfect or merely extraordinary?
He's perfect.
And we can sort of interrogate that as we go along. All three of the movies, yes, we're doing all the matrices. I looked up the plural; it is matrices. So we're doing all the matrices, and maybe that's the title of this episode. I haven't decided yet how we're going to title this episode.
I like that.
It's not good for analytics.
No, it's
Use
really
the
bad for
Matrix.
SEO. I'm putting 1 minute on the clock. Who can recap the Matrix trilogy? All right. When I say I know Kung Fu, you can start. I know Kung Fu.
All right, so there's a hacker guy. He gets waked up by some people, follow the right rabbit. He follows the right rabbit, and he sees Morpheus and all this shit, and red pill, blue pill, blah, blah, blah. Agent, don't do that. Agent is all angry. So they go, they run. They're running away from the agents. They're trying to figure out what the Matrix is. Turns out it's a computer program. You jack in. Download cool programs like Kung Fu. You learn Kung Fu, you know Kung Fu. So then you go through, you're going to fight Agent Smith. He doesn't like people that are outside of the Matrix because he's part of robot people programs. So you go to see the
You got
Oracle.
35 seconds.
Damn it. Oracle's like, Neo, you're the one. And he's like, no, I'm not. And then he finds out he's the one. And then he goes and he runs through and he's unplugging other people from the Matrix. And then like some people die. And then like the robots come, they're trying to kill Zion, which is their big home city, which is fun. And then Neo's like, I can kill these robots too. And then Neo kills everything. And then he like goes and talks to the people that built the Matrix. And he's like, don't be dicks. And
15
they're like,
seconds.
we're not going to be dicks anymore. We're going to like try to work with you if you kill Agent Smith because, all this time he's been like just replicating. Apparently there's no more Matrix. It's just Smith. So Neo goes and he kills them. They kill him, comes back. Robots say, they're like, hey, we love you. We're going to leave him alone for now. Cue new movie coming out in a week.
That's a minute. Good job.
That was pretty good. Yeah. Clap, clap, clap.
I really like, and no offense to anyone else who's been on episodes, but some of these recaps go on too long.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that
Well,
went
you
over
didn't
1
give
minute.
anybody a time.
A time.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's no one's fault but mine, as with everything on this podcast. So yeah,
I will say I probably spent about 30 seconds on The Matrix, and then the other two just boom.
I think.
I mean, that's probably
The
Yeah,
way
I
that
was
I
gonna
did,
say-
actually.
as far as like a collective, cultural brain share, it's really The Matrix, and then the other two are kind of like, yeah, those movies people saw, or in
two
some
are very
cases did
blended
not.
together.
I was very happy we watched them again though, because I feel like they were very good. They're dense. They are dense ass movies, and then they're just like fight scene, and you're like, wait, I'm still processing. What's going on now? There's bullets. I can't process this.
I thought it was a much easier watch than the 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Sure.
That's fair.
Not just time wise, but just like when I finish those, it takes a lot out of me. Like I'm happy I watched it, but it's also like, who, like The Matrix. I was like, oh, okay, like cool. I don't need to go to sleep.
Yeah, it went
Yeah.
a lot quicker than I expected.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
They kind of zoomed, and I was especially worried when we got to the sequels that it was going to be like, oh, this is, but I didn't feel that way at all. Actually,
If I hadn't already committed to leave, I kind of wanted to stay for the third one. I was expecting to feel like you were saying for the Lord of the Rings, where I'm like, I don't think I can do 3 movies back to back, but I definitely could have done the third one. I just had already.
yeah. And so we should say, because normally we say, okay, here's who hasn't seen this before. The idea is none of us have seen Matrix Resurrections before. That movie doesn't come out for, as we're recording this, 5 more days. But we all got together. I think this is Corey's idea, right? Because this is a thing.
Yeah,
you do,
because
movie marathon.
I haven't seen any of the movies just like straight up.
Yeah.
Like I've watched clips that come on cable back in the day when people had cable. And then we were talking about the new movie, and I was like, oh, I still have to watch the old ones. Do you guys want to do a marathon? And these 3 were like, hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's pick a date now, or we're never going to do it. And
Right. We committed to do it, and we actually did it. I'm proud of us for following through. As we started Matrix Revolutions, I believe in the first 5 minutes, a couple of us were like, I don't remember this. And then 15 minutes in, I think a couple of us were actually like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I haven't seen this movie before.
I'm in that camp.
Yep, I had not seen Matrix Revolutions before. Really
Except-
thought I had.
Except one scene, but that's it.
Yeah, in my mind, I was like thinking of things that happen in Reloaded as happening in Reloaded and in Revolutions. But no, I hadn't seen Matrix Revolutions before. It opens with Keanu at a subway stop, and was like, I've never seen this shit before in my life. This is well beyond.
Did we put on the wrong
anything I'm
movie? Is he
familiar
supposed to
with.
be here?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Keanu?
Get out of there, buddy.
Speed 2, but it's on.
I definitely watched them, but I mean the details other than like I think I remember one of the big fights like right when Smith was coming to the Oracle. And I mean, I think I remember the architect from the third one when he walked into the room with the TV monitors, but everything
See,
else
that's
that
in
was
Reloaded.
That's on the
That was in
second
Rhode
one.
Island.
That's what happened to
Damn it.
us.
That's what happened.
That's what
Okay.
happened to us.
Yeah, because I think it started with architects in the next one, right? And we're like, yeah.
definitely.
Then he meets up with the architect. He's like, wait, what's in the third one?
Oh, because that I put it together this time. The architect is the robot Neo's talking to at the end in real life, but not as the
Architect's
as the
a program.
Yeah, I think that was him in his robot form.
Maybe.
Based on the way the robot at the end was talking, and then when they go back and they talk to the architect as a program, they said 2 very similar things regarding the piece. And crap, I should have done it before the cast. But anyways, my theory is that the architect was that big robot he negotiated with at the end. But
Okay.
I think it's never given a name, so that's totally in play. I would say
it's a
There's-
reasonable possibility.
Yeah, I think I like it more that the programs are sort of their own kind of things that are just like doing their shit.
okay.
I thought it was a robot baby.
Well, yeah, the in the machine city at the end, and I guess that's where we're skipping plot wise. Literally the last 10 minutes of Neo's life, supposedly. Let's start there.
This is my fault because this is how I watch movies from the end first. So I bring you all down with
All right,
me.
scrolling to the last page of my notes, and let's get into it.
In reverse. No, we can start with the
Get back
first
to
one.
it. I
Yeah,
just got
yeah.
excited because
Yeah, movie time with Robbie's terrible. He's like, let's watch the third one, then the second, and then the
Robbie,
first.
no, not again.
In reverse.
I tried to get him to watch Star Wars in the machete order one time.
Yeah, that's what happens.
And then we fell asleep after 2. Still haven't seen
I only watched the Topher Grace cut. So,
Wait,
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what the Topher Grace cut is.
He's that 70s show.
Yeah, he was Eric on that 70s
Eric.
show.
Oh,
That's right,
that's his
yeah.
real name.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there an order for that?
No, he personally cut together the movies,
Oh my god.
and it's
Is
like
it good?
pretty good.
Is it really?
How long is
Okay.
it?
So the cut is this is off the top of my head. So
I gotta
sorry.
watch this because I haven't seen Star Wars.
The cut is there's no Phantom Menace.
Okay.
He just cut the prequels, no Phantom Menace, and then he cut the 2 other movies into just one cohesive
Interesting.
kind of punchy movie.
I could see that.
Yeah. I guess he had time. I don't know, just on that 70s show syndication,
Just
dollars.
Collecting royalty checks, doing nothing else.
Yeah. So where I wanted to start was, you know what's good? The fucking Matrix. Holy shit.
Yes.
So the first Matrix comes out in 1999. It's the second directorial effort from the Wachowskis. And it takes the fuck off. It's like immediately a cultural touchstone. It wins 4 Academy Awards. It's a huge, huge deal. What a cool movie. In 2003, I think May and October, I think they're about that long apart. You got Reloaded and Revolutions both. Reloaded is, until Deadpool in 2016, the highest grossing rated R film. Those are kind of critically like had at the time. There's been some reassessment, not like a fully, oh, everyone was wrong reassessment, but I think a lot of the cool kids have at least brought them into a sort of divisive zone, not just fully everyone doesn't like this, but more a lot of people really don't like this, but a lot of people think these kick ass. I definitely used to be in the first camp because I was 12 in 2003 and also didn't see Revolutions apparently. And I thought Reloaded was kind of lame. And then watching it now, it is lame for sure. So aggressively. But I loved it. So who knows, man? I think both those movies rock. So I don't know.
I had the same. I didn't think I would like. I remember not really liking either one of them a little bit, and I absolutely loved both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have things to say about 3, but I'm gonna wait till we get to 3.
Yeah. I think they're all good. Makes me really excited for the new one because it seems to be. It's just Lana Wachowski. Lily is not involved in the making of this movie.
Are they
Is
sisters?
there like a reason?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's kind of strange because we also have the first movie from just one of the Coen brothers is also coming out, depending on where you live right around now, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Sorry, this tragedy of Scottish play. We can't say Macbeth. This is technically a performance, so we shouldn't say Macbeth.
What? Oh, right.
It's just bad. It's bad luck. So anyway, yeah.
Macbeth.
Oh,
He's right behind you.
No, if you say it 3
See
Take
you
that,
later.
If
Shakespeare.
you say Macbeth 3 times on a podcast, he shows up and strangles you with a skull.
Oh no.
that would get some
Sit
viewers
down in your mouth.
or listeners.
The current Macbeth, the guy who's playing Macbeth in The Tragedy of Macbeth is Denzel Washington. He could kick any of our asses, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an old-ish man, but he's scary.
Mm.
I don't want that. So stop saying his name.
He's got paid personal trainers, so I'm sure he could.
This is going to be 5 hours long.
Yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
played 100 hours of Halo. I can't do anything.
Corey's already browsing his phone, and we just started.
No.
talking about
It's for the podcast. It's for the podcast. All right, then I'm going to interject here.
Yeah, please do.
So let's talk about the first movie. First of all, I can't believe it took me this long to watch it because it was incredible.
Right.
That movie was so fucking good.
I also
The
can't
whole
believe you
thing,
haven't
I was
seen
like,
it.
yeah. Well,
I
I've seen
forgot
like,
you
well,
hadn't seen it.
well, like,
yeah, I've seen a lot of parts of it, but then watching it all together, it was like watching it for the first time because technically it was.
And it's just pedal down. You start with that
Yeah.
amazing sequence where the cops go into the building that Trinity's in.
So good.
I was sucked in immediately.
The cop tells the agent, like, "Oh, we're in there. It's no problem." The agent just says, "All your men are already dead."
already dead.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
a great opening scene.
So Trinity, Carrie-Anne Moss, who is incredible in this role. The agents showing up. Hugo Weaving is the main one. Agent Smith,
Elrond.
Elrond from Game of Thrones. That's what it is, right? And
Lord of the Rings.
Oh man, they're gonna be so angry when they hear that.
so. I think it's just fun to like
Oh, just
whatever audience we have to just try and
Piss them off.
Piss them off,
Make
yeah.
them mad. Yes.
And then more people
Listen.
will watch it because they'll talk shit about it online.
exactly.
It-
People are
it's
going to be
what
like,
the
you
media
got to
does.
listen to all of these episodes. And one time, this guy mentioned the wrong high fantasy thing.
People hating you makes you money.
So you start with the awesome sequence with Trinity, and it just throws you right in, and you're hitting 100 miles per hour straight off the bat. you get that iconic shot of, I've realized when editing these episodes, I say iconic a lot. And unfortunately, we keep doing these iconic movies, so I can't stop. Iconic shot of Neo asleep next to his computer, as hackers were in 1999. Yeah. And the wake up Neo text pops up on his screen, and the movie begins. Good movie.
He's going to print out his hacks real quick onto a floppy disk.
Yeah, I got a good hack here. You want it? So Keanu is just like a guy who works at a software company.
Yes.
His name Thomas Anderson, but his online handle is Neo.
It is funny to see a software company in the early 90s where everyone's like all professional and stuff, and now like good luck getting your programmers to look like that. Like,
so one fun thing to think about is, office culture stuff. This movie came out the same year as Office Space.
Really?
So like
no way.
Real big year for all our jobs suck and nothing's real.
Office Space was older.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the early 90s Office Space.
I thought it was
blowing
even
my
like
mind. I
late
know
80s, or
everything.
I thought it was like 89.
Office Space, February 19th, 1999.
Wow.
The first Matrix, March 31st. So they came out barely a month away from each other.
Wow, that's kind of
That's
mind-blowing.
weird to think about.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
Okay.
So two very different takes on, as Blur would say, how modern life is rubbish in the 90s.
They kind of have like a very similar message. Not super,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
pretty simple, like robots, everyone's
you
monotonous. Like
getting this?
it's just
'Cause,
kind of
I'm not
like
thinking.
like that's an
Um,
interesting.
They kill a machine.
They kill a
in
machine.
Office Space.
It's just like you, because like the whole Agent Smith replicating and taking people over, like that just feels like a classic take on like everyone's robots, everyone's conforming. I feel like that was a big part of Office Space as well. Like it's an interesting.
Yeah, an anti-conformity kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So he's looking for Morpheus. He finds Morpheus because Trinity gets in there and it gets all close to his ear in a fun club where they're playing Dragula, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I remember liking that song, and I was like, "Why do I like the sound of this song? That's weird."
That song slaps.
It
song does
slaps.
slam.
It slaps, I guess.
He's like the second or third most talented person to make a Halloween franchise movie, but
Shout out Rob Zombie.
Oh, it was Rob Zombie. It was Rob Zombie.
Oh.
he definitely wrote the best song about the grandpa's car from the Munsters,
Okay. What song is that?
Dragula.
Oh, that's the name of the...
That's the name of Grandpa Munster's car from the Munsters.
He would do that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But the funny thing is, in the video, he's actually in the family car. He's not in the Dragula in the video for the song Dragula.
He probably fought with his producers
going
about it
around.
so much, and they were like, "This is way better."
Dragula, the car, really just seats one person. So you can't slam in the back of the Dragula. There's no back.
Oh, that's true. There's a trunk.
You slam on
Maybe.
top.
You got to slam on the whole length of the Dragula, and that wouldn't have fit in the song.
Someone should have talked to him about
Oh
that.
my
before he
God, this is
released
going to
that.
be 7 hours long. This one was my fault. This one was my fault.
Just
I'm
don't,
sorry.
Don't
I
edit
keep
it.
trying to pull it
Just
back
zero,
in.
zero editing in this
I
episode.
think they were playing Dragula, and you guys know 10 cool things about Dragula.
Hell yeah.
So this was obviously one of the standout things that culture has pulled from the Matrix. Obviously, the whole idea of just reality isn't real is a huge thing, but the red pill thing is huge and not always super popular with the right people. We should probably acknowledge or ignore. I don't know. But
I'm so lost in the whole Discord. I don't even remember like which pill is which anymore. Where they're like, "You're a red pill." Like, is it the red pill's the one you
Yes.
go back to sleep? The blue pill?
no, red's the one where you wake up.
You wake up. Okay.
So the arch conservatives who don't understand metaphors that use Twitter are always talking about being red pilled.
Gotcha. Which the concept is hilarious, right? Because it's you're conforming, but choose between these two things. I feel like you're still conforming. You could just reject both options entirely.
Yeah, he could have. Yeah. So that's when I forget which one of these dickheads was talking about like taking the red pill, and then Ivanka Trump was like already taken, and then Lana Wachowski replied, "Fuck both of you." So
I love when people are just direct like that. Like you don't need to get into a whole
Yes.
thing. Like you don't need to like start a whole conversation. Just,
No.
give
Fuck
it
you.
up.
one thing I'm curious to see is that a lot of the reviews have already started coming out about resurrections, and we'll get to this at the end, but just real quick, a lot of people are like, oh, it's like they're doing so much like philosophical mumbo jumbo and
Oh
stuff.
my
And
God.
it's like, hell yes. And it's like, well, because the last time the Wachowskis did this shit, you guys didn't understand their metaphors, so they're just going to tell you now.
Here you go, dum-dums. Imagining that we're going to keep going philosophical with it. I'm assuming Neo's coming back because Keanu Reeves is in it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Or else I'm leaving the theater.
I'm wondering if we're going to see the next generation of Neo because he implied we've seen like 6 so far. So I'm assuming we get to see a whole generation of Zion. And I'm wondering what Zion looks like now that they didn't get wiped out in between. You know,
I wonder if it's like
God
a real
figures.
world now. Like it looks like the
Oh.
Matrix, but in real life.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of possibility there, especially with like the way like there was sun above the clouds. So like the humans and robots could theoretically work together to provide more power. So you're just gonna copy and cut this to the end when we talk about the end of it.
He's trying to say, so he takes the red pill and Morpheus brings him into the next room over. And
I brought it there.
yeah, we're trying. And he goes through and he did the thing where he like touches the mirror and then the mirror starts spreading across his body.
Which is great. So many great visuals. in
Yeah.
this film.
This sequence I was like scared of when I was a kid. I think this was really indelible on anyone's mind. The first time you see, to this point, Keanu Reeves is, you know, his normal late 90s full head of hair. Then you see him waking up in the real world after taking the red pill, and he's just like very hairless in a vat.
Before that too was like when the agents come and put the
Oh yeah,
bug-
that freaked me out too. The
'Cause I was
bug,
gonna
the bug
say,
that they
like,
that-
put in his belly
That was
button.
weird.
that whole sequence was like almost
Very
like a little
uncomfortable.
like horror movie kind of like
Yeah, it's like body horror
condensed in there.
Yeah, this is all straight, you know, for just straight up shit like that. It's so cool though. And it's just so visually inventive that you see him wake up and he looks out of his pod and realizes he's in like a battery farm. And then he gets flushed and he goes down something that even as a kid I was like, well, this is scary, but it does look like a fun water slide.
It did look like a fun water
Yeah.
slide.
Gross, but
And I'm sure he was scared at the time, the character, but I bet Keanu filming it was like, hell yeah, more water slide.
Well, like, can you actually swim if you've only been swimming in programs? Does that transfer
Oh.
from
You have
waking
to
up
have
in a
muscle.
vat of
It's a
water?
good
Like,
question.
No, I don't
he
think so.
looked like
His-
he was drowning.
Well, his
like,
muscles
yeah.
haven't been.
they have
used
to build
ever.
his muscle.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just like I
So
know
the-
what I'm. It's like the worst.
You probably have
nightmare
like
can
no
imagine.
like
You're probably a
like depth
slut.
perception. Like everything's probably all fucked up.
You're probably like a baby.
It's the first time you're using your eyes. Like that was such a cool line. Like right
Yes.
after he woke up, he's like,
Yeah.
why is
There's-
everything blurry? Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Because you never use yes.
I think the funniest thing about the whole like pod structure and it making power and like my first thought was if we had the technology to do that, not only would people willingly sign up to do this to live in a virtual world and like get money sent somewhere else, but like it wouldn't even be people would pay money to go into the pods to live in the virtual world. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of funny.
Absolutely, they would. I mean, we all buy lots of video games.
We do.
So
We do. And I mean, we've been purchasing VR more and more. So like if they were like, hey, fully immersive, get in the VR pod. I mean,
I'll get in right now. I just watched all 3 of the Matrix, and I'm like,
it's like, is this
Or
the
Matrix.
is this
Yeah.
the worst reality? Because the world does kind of suck.
like I have work on Monday, and if I go in the pod, well, I might still have work on Monday again. Actually, if I'm in the Matrix,
Yeah.
So I'll just stay in real life.
If you cut a deal, you're eating sloppy steaks
Sloppy
and
steaks.
I was like, where's this going?
Let's slap
It's a
'em up.
bad deal.
eating sloppy steaks and hooking up with the lady in the red dress.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll
Right. Yeah. That's what Cypher thinks.
hit me up,
Yeah.
robots.
Joey Pants. So as the Nebuchadnezzar, which is Morpheus's ship, there's that great shot from below as the big claws pulling Neo out of the water, and he's just getting like raced up into the bottom of the ship. And then yeah, there's that really cool. It's not really montage, but a few scenes of him, like it makes sense. It's a very long, not even necessarily recovery time because he's not getting back to anything, but just they have to build his body to be like an adult body. You meet all the people on the crew. You got Tank. You got Cypher. There's Mouse is there. He's as advertised.
Good old mouse.
Morpheus, Trinity. The whole crew's here. Other people too. Tank's brother.
Dozer.
Dozer and Tank.
So Nebuchadnezzar is Nebuchadnezzar the second or whatever, an ancient king who has a dream he can't remember but keeps searching for an answer, just like Neo.
Oh.
That's from The Matrix and Philosophy. So that might just be the Matrix's and the people who made its interpretation of Nebuchadnezzar. So grain of salt.
He's the one that calls David from the Bible to not
It's
David,
not mentioned
Daniel.
here. So
Daniel
maybe.
from the Bible to
Robbie knows
interpret
everything.
his dreams.
Yes.
And then he sends them to the lion's den, blah, blah, blah. Blah. That's the whole like in the lion's den story, which is
Oh,
interesting.
fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I thought it was a biblical name. I was like, I feel like I've heard this multiple times.
That's what I started to think. Where do I know Nebuchadnezzar from? I'm glad you brought that up because that's definitely where I actually know it from.
So
So we meet Dozer and
and then they all die.
Tank.
Hold
Oh
on.
wait,
hold
when
on.
do they
There's the
die?
lady
Was-
with the
that's
short
right after
blonde
that,
hair.
right?
There's
Not
the
right after you
Asian
meet
guy.
them. There's a whole movie in between.
So I would really like to talk about the most
all
famous
die.
training sequence in
Yes, yes.
any movie that's come out
Yes.
during our lifetime,
Same.
which is where
I don't know
Neo
if I'd call
gets-
it training. They just kind of plug them in, and I'm just kidding, fucking with you. Go ahead.
So Neo gets taken into the Matrix by Morpheus. Come to find out, because people gather to watch that on your first time, you normally don't go through this process. But there's the jumping off the building stuff. There's the dojo stuff. Oh, I know Kung Fu. And, this is so cool.
It is.
I'm glad
It
you
is.
said that because I was just about to say, like, when Trinity needs to learn how to fly a helicopter, they're just like, helicopter program. And just, you have a helicopter. And it's like, Neo, I want to learn Kung Fu. Looks like you're going to do it the old school way in this fucking dojo with me. But no, they download
Yeah.
it. They were just doing
Yeah.
like an exhibition kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because he had to like push past that
Like, actually use
normal like wall
Yeah.
that people would have.
Yeah, because the training he's going through isn't like, so yes, we all know that you know Kung Fu, Neo, but
it. We all know Kung Fu.
yeah, but can you go faster than Morpheus? And that's what the thing is. And he gets kind of close. He almost gets there, but he doesn't quite get there. And that's important because he doesn't quite break through, because we haven't said this yet. Morpheus thinks that Neo is the one. There is a prophecy from a character called the Oracle that Neo is brought to shortly after this, that has said that the one is going to come and free them from the machine's tyranny and all this stuff and lead humans to salvation. But yeah, so this training sequence is awesome. I mean, it's just so cool.
It is very cool.
The Morpheus Neo fight is #iconic,
Mm.
and I like it.
That I definitely have seen before a few times,
Oh yeah,
and
Oh,
was
yeah,
like, "This is
absolutely.
cool. I should
That's
watch
the
this
pull-out.
movie."
That's
and then
the-
I never watched it.
that's why kids on the playground everywhere were just like doing that to each other.
I still do that.
Yeah. And just for the listeners at home, you're just like the kind of come here or like, come at me hand signal.
That's what losers do. I just wear the big leather trench coat instead,
Yeah, there you go.
like a cool
Duster.
person.
Hell yeah.
So for as high and philosophically minded as these movies are, they still have some of the most killer kick-ass fight scenes in the history of blockbuster films.
Which was like groundbreaking for the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot
This
of
isn't this isn't what action movies looked like, certainly before this.
Oh, I did have a comment actually
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that
yeah.
that fight scene too when they were fighting, because I think you pointed this out, Robbie, when they were watching it on this. It was like this
Oh, like the shittiest screen ever.
shittiest screen that was like black and white, and it was like 3 frames per second. It was all blurred, and they're all like hovered around like, oh my god, it's so cool. Which from our perspective was really cool, but from their perspective must have looked like garbage.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they do this kind of retro futurist thing, except normally that's sort of like a mid-century modern in the space age look at, retro futurism. But instead it's just like, I guess this is the technology that survived, like Cold War era computers.
I think a big part of the movie is everything they're using. You have to look at wasn't built with the purpose of humans in mind. It was all built for machines. Machines.
What about the
don't
ship?
need.
They have this like super hyper technical ship, and the screen looks like shit.
The screen is probably like something they just rigged together because a robot doesn't really have a need for a screen. They're gonna plug in and they're gonna read all
They
the
don't have
schematics.
a need for a ship.
They probably didn't have a ship, but they probably took a robot that was designed to travel in
Yeah,
those
that makes
tunnels
sense.
and make repairs. And then that's why they don't have weapons. They have an EMP, which is probably used to like take out a rogue hard
Bad
drive or
robot, yeah.
something.
A bug.
But like everything they have isn't really like, I don't know how they built the guns. That's a mystery.
Oh yeah, those like laser guns, or maybe it was just like also some kind of defense mechanism that the robots had, like the police robots to take out like another thing.
They might just
Or
like
it's
they
for
might,
like welding or something.
or they
you
could,
know.
they could just have like a weapons factory they make with the express purpose of the humans needing something, because the robots don't use weapons. They just rip everything apart and they use the drill. So again, as part of their like the humans need something, if they couldn't get weapons, they'd probably just give up. So you gotta, I don't know. It's just an interesting like way to look at their world, because
Yeah.
there's no human factories anymore.
Yeah.
It's weird after you know that it's all sort of part of the plan. It's like I have such a different view of looking at everything. Like maybe that's just the way that the robots wanted it, and they gave them what they needed. And
Yep, like the humans think they stumbled on an old abandoned like last outpost that happens to have their last stockpile of ammo that the
Yeah.
robots like just quietly refill
Left
every
their
time
purpose.
they have a big war. I thought we're out of
Yeah.
these.
no, okay.
Pretty much, yeah. So, one thing that I had kind of forgotten, because I guess I hadn't watched the even the first Matrix in a while, is that you get this iconic scene where he goes #iconic scene where he goes and talks to the Oracle, and then they don't leave the Matrix again. That then you get into like the final confrontation of the movie and stuff from there.
Hmm.
That movie zips
this the
along,
bench
man.
one?
It's crazy.
The bench conversation.
Bench
or
is
the,
reloaded.
Oh, damn.
Wait.
This is the one that he goes to with the kids and the spoon.
Yeah. This is the spoon one. There's like a waiting
There
room
is
with a
no
bunch of like
spoon.
creepy kids,
Yep.
and the bald creepy kid tells him that there is no spoon, and
Yeah, that kid
And he, like,
saved
bends it all around.
the movie, or saved Neo. Neo couldn't do shit without that kid.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So the Oracle tells him he's not the one, and sends him on his way.
There is no spoon thing. I know everybody jokes about it, and it's I find it funny because I cannot figure out what the philosophy. Like I understand it's, you know, we're in a program, you have to think that it doesn't exist, but everything in the movie has such a deep meaning, and I feel like there's nothing there except for like it doesn't actually exist as a computer program, and it's I don't know.
I think
No, no, the whole.
I think it made a lot of
yeah.
kids stare at spoons really hard.
It did.
In
It
1999.
did.
tried to do
I
that.
absolutely tried to do
I've
that.
tried to do that not because of that
1000%.
movie.
Well, even before
But-
even
True.
that, as soon as you saw
I
Cadaver,
was going to say I tried to do it because of it was Alakazam for me. He had
Oh.
more spoons.
He does.
So.
I think the whole point of it was for not that the spoon doesn't exist or whatever. Like I think that was even less of it. It was more of like what you think happens will happen, and the spoon was just there as like an example of that. You know what I mean?
Just that you have control over.
Yeah, like all right, if you what you think will happen, because it's not actually there. So like you're the one that's producing that. Like your thought is coming to fruition is like the purpose of the spoon. Whereas like the spoon, it doesn't even matter if there is a spoon, because whatever you're thinking is going to happen. But there's something like visually there to like conceptualize, so it makes it a little easier to bend the spoon or like to do something and bring it into real life, which is the Matrix.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. That maybe,
So,
or they were just thought.
yeah,
it was
I
cool.
think it's that. And then, like, practically in the movie, it's, you know, Neo needs to start believing that he has control over the things in this world in a literal sense, that he can bend the objects in space and time in this world to his, I guess not time so much, to his will.
Why did she tell him that he wasn't the one?
She needed to get him to kind of rebel, I guess. You can't think you're the one.
You can't think you're so like he was breaking from the mold of like, well, I'm not supposed to be able to do this, but fuck it, I'm gonna go save these people anyway.
Okay.
And like, I don't know, it's the classic like you tell them they can't do it, so they can do it. Do you know what I'm saying?
If I was like,
it's
hey,
it's the same thing at the end of Reloaded, not to get ahead of us, but essentially it's fostering within Neo. She needs him to choose not to reset the Matrix because she wants it to be different this time.
Yeah.
So he's given the choice to go save Trinity or to reset the Matrix. The previous 5 reset the Matrix,
Yeah.
but they didn't have a Trinity. So he chooses to go save Trinity, being told that it means that every human's going to die.
What does that have to do with her not telling him that?
So he needs to be looking at things in their face and saying, fuck it, I'm going to go do this anyway.
So you think if he knew that he was the one, it would have changed how the
I think
decisions
that's how
were
she
made?
plays it.
If you know you're the one, you're gonna walk up into that fight and you're gonna be like, I've won already. when Agent Smith is his counterpart. Agent Smith is the anti-one.
Yeah.
So sure, he can go, I'm the one, and walk up and murder 99.9% of the Matrix, no problem, even with that cocky attitude. Agent Smith is the only person that could actually take him out. So it's like, why when a general would have his troops cross a bridge and burn it behind him? Like, there's no option. You have to fight to the death. So Neo going into the fight, knowing he's going to die, means he has no reservations. There's no reason not to do absolutely anything and everything, because you're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
So if there's no other option, like you already know that's what the outcome is, you fight.
He's not going to be able to get to the level that he needs to get to without thinking that he has nothing to lose.
Without thinking he has nothing to lose. He has to give it all. Because giving it all is what made him the one. The one is the person that will sacrifice themselves for blah, 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 blah.
Because you naturally want to survive. Like in the back of your head, even if you don't think about it, like you're trying to stay alive. But at that point, he was just like, I'm going to die either way, so I might as well go out swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like on the flip side where I was going with the cockiness, if you go into every fight knowing you're the one, somebody's just going to murder you, because you have to like get to that point. You can't just like wake up as the champion, even if you're going to be the champion.
Yeah.
So if the second an oracle tells you you're going to do something, you're going to stop working towards that goal.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what, like even if you were on the path to get there, now you're not going to be on the path, because why would you work towards something you've already achieved because the oracle told you you're going to?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty important that she doesn't tell him what to do.
Mm-hmm.
She says, you're not the one, sorry, kid.
Yeah.
So,
And then he says something like, so Morpheus is going to die for nothing. And she's like, yep.
yeah, well, you get a choice.
You get a choice.
It's you or Morpheus.
You're on your own, kid.
Yeah, pretty much. Good movie. So just to like move it along, because this is movie 1 and 3.
It's the best one though.
It is
So
the
I feel
best.
like
Got 3 covered in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
the second two, I feel like we're not even going to have that much to say
I
about.
think we're gonna have a lot to say about them.
I have a lot to say.
They put too much
I
into the
love
first one,
NFTs.
is my
Yeah,
opinion. They blew their load. Did they even know they were going to make 2 and 3 when they made the first one?
I don't know. I mean, they're very different movies.
Was it presented as a trilogy?
Not when the first one came out. The second 2 don't come out for 4 years. So
Yeah, I wasn't sure if like when they wrote it, they had the other two in mind.
I don't think so.
But probably not.
Weird too, because they did like it was a 6-month release and they filmed them both at the same time.
well, that's the thing, right? Because the actor that plays the Oracle dies in between 2 and 3.
That's why they changed.
That's why.
So there must have been some time in between, right?
I suppose so. Yes.
They
Unless-
recast it apart. Like,
Yes.
R.I.P. I thought she was
Yes.
asking for too much money.
I thought it was just part of the movie. But
No.
no, yeah.
they integrate it well.
Yeah.
They did
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
job.
It is notable that like shouldn't more people have that happen to them then?
Yeah.
But whatever. It doesn't super matter. So, but anyway, in the Matrix 1999. So right after that is them, going through the city and trying to escape, and then they're going down that kind of crawl space
that
between
scene.
the walls.
Yes.
Which was a real thing, apparently.
Oh,
That was like a
now I know
real
what you're talking about. Yeah,
So cool.
sick.
set, that whole
Oh,
giant wall that
nice.
they...
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's like a SWAT team in there, but it's also agents or whatever.
becomes agents.
It becomes agents, and Neo's trying to tell Morpheus, like, I'm not the one, don't do this. And Morpheus is like, get him out of here. And he does that awesome thing that Laurence Fishburne does, where he like busts through the wall and like body slams the guy.
Sick.
That was sick.
Yeah. Love that. Anytime you can bust through a wall on it, bro, that's like there's gonna be a power move, even if you know like I'm purposely losing this fight, but this is gonna buy time at least, because they're gonna be like, I'm not gonna cuff him. You like, this guy's crazy.
I don't get paid enough for this.
No, I'm going home. Then they agent out and they're like, oh, Morpheus. So yeah,
So they escape, right? Everyone but Morpheus escapes.
Yes.
They make it to the room with the phone.
Yep.
And that's
Yes.
when what's his name? Shoots Tank and Dozer.
yes. And the blonde lady with the short hair and the other guy who we forgot his name. They both,
Wait, Dozer isn't there. No.
No. Back on the ship.
they get shot by
Back
Cypher.
out of the Matrix. Cypher's taken out first.
No, Cypher is the one doing the taking out.
Oh, were Tank and Dozer?
No.
Who was in the second one?
That was the guy from Lost.
Oh, and he was related to
he-
Dozer.
He was the
Husband of a
Dozer's
sister.
sister's- Yeah.
Dozer and Tank's sister.
Okay, yep.
Did
Sorry.
they have a big family?
But it was, I want to say Michael
But
on
Tank
Lost?
and Dozer were both. For some reason, I thought one of them was Dozer, like in the second
Oh,
one, and
no,
one
no,
was
no.
Tank in the first one. But
It's a
no,
small
Tank and
community,
Dozer
it
were
gets
both.
incestuous.
What was that guy's name? In the second one?
Brozer?
Dozer or Tank?
The other one.
Schmozer.
The other one.
Not Dozer or Tank.
We're
The
on
guy-
Matrix 1999.
Okay, well, the guy the second. Just what was
His name was like Chips or something.
definitely was not Chips, but okay.
Bites with a Y.
That whole time I was trying to think of like another big like construction vehicle, and
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything.
Backhoe.
Bobcat.
Caterpillar.
I like that.
I have to know. Continue. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, so
Figure it out in time for Matrix Reloaded.
The first movie's done.
Cypher comes out of the Matrix first. You can't see
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
using a lot of.
So yeah, so Cypher shoots Tank and Dozer, and Tank's the one that's on like comms, that's like telling them, you know, he's Mr. Wizard, getting the phone calls out there.
Yep.
And Cypher takes him out, takes out Dozer, and then is giving his little monologue. He kills the guy who we can't remember his name,
The other guy.
and then he's dead. And then it's the other lady,
Not like this.
Gidget. For some reason, so stuck in my mind is this line reading that this lady whose character we can't remember and refuse to look up says after the first guy dies, and she's holding like his chest and kind of looking up at Trinity, and she knows that she's about to die, and she says, "Not like this."
One
Not
of the most
like
one of the
this.
most memorable lines in the whole movie,
And
and
I
I don't know
why.
why. I also don't know why.
I don't know why, but it is stuck in my mind. That exact shot, the look she gives, her line reading,
Everything
everything.
incredible.
Yeah, but then
Switch. She was Switch.
Switch.
Ah, okay.
You get Switch dying here, and then he tells Trinity to like look in his big baby eyes or whatever. It says something like that. But Tank didn't die, and he pops up as Cypher's talking about sloppy steaks, and he puts a hole right through him. R.I.P. Joey Pants. Well, we have maybe the most iconic section of the movie, the lobby shootout.
Oh yes.
Yep.
The lobby shootout.
Oh, you know. This
Okay,
one, dude,
they
'cause
put
you're
on
like,
long leather jackets and
That's
sunglasses.
in the first one. Okay. Yeah.
You might remember these from the poster.
They do the Matrix thing.
They do the Matrix thing.
You know, everybody doesn't have to look at me. They know what I'm talking about.
We're not there yet.
The Matrix thing.
First, they have two luggage bags
Yeah.
full of guns.
Yes.
Which
Best,
they put through.
best scene in the movie.
sick.
Best scene in the movie.
Sick.
They drop them on the X-ray machine, and it's going through, and the guy's like, "Oh no!"
Oh no,
That
guns!
looks like guns.
And then
Oh,
they
no,
pull out
guns.
a shotgun
Yeah, and they
just
blast him away.
blast him into outer space,
Yeah,
and then just chaos breaks
and the
out.
music starts getting awesome,
It
and
does
then
get awesome.
they run in slow motion behind pillars.
I'm gonna toss this out there. If I die before you guys, which is highly likely,
How's this going to?
I at my funeral,
Why is it so
I want
dark?
you to project this scene,
Oh, okay.
but Photoshop my face onto him.
Okay.
the guard who dies.
No. Keanu,
This is how Cory
Keanu.
died.
God damn it.
Keanu Reeves blasted him
You
away.
guys are gonna fuck up my funeral. Just don't even have one.
He said he wanted this.
All right, guys. I forget exactly what he said, so just put his face on every character in this scene.
That is acceptable. I sign off on this legally.
You got it, baby.
She said, bury him in a big leather jacket.
He said he wanted sunglasses on.
Do you want to be
Actually,
buried in the
yes.
Matrix outfit with a leather
yeah, that
duster
would be
and black sunglasses?
Make sure you take a picture first.
So this scene's awesome. They're running up the walls. There's slow motion. The explosions and the debris flying through the air in slow motion. So cool.
It's probably the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, they basically take down a whole SWAT unit essentially out there, and it's dope as hell. Neo and Trinity in full badass
Taste
mode.
of John Wick.
It's so fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really.
What
Seriously.
is something happens that's like really awesome towards the end of that battle scene? And I can't remember what it was about, like reloading
start
a
doing
shotgun.
flips.
Do you
Neo does
remember?
a cartwheel with no hands and shoots guards with two guns. At the same
Yes,
time.
by the pillar, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
going behind the
Cartwheels
pillars.
from one to the
Oh
other.
man,
Does he do a
that's
thing where he like
great.
picks up a gun that's on the ground
That's-
and shoots
yeah.
it?
That's
Cartwheeling?
that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
of. Mid cartwheel,
cool.
he picks up a gun
Yeah.
and then shoots. Like, oh,
Who
it's
knew cartwheels were
fantastic.
badass?
They
Yeah.
weren't until that moment.
When you pick up a fucking gun mid cartwheel and shoot 2 guards, anything's badass.
So it's the gun that's the key there.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been doing
And the
cartwheels
killing
wrong.
of other beings.
No. Cartwheel's it's a big part of it.
Every
It's a big
party
part
I
of
go to, I go, look at this cartwheel, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's cool.
Nice.
Nope.
So then they go to the roof.
Then it's the end of the movie.
No. Then they go to the roof. There's a helicopter there. But first, he
Yes.
fights one of the agents. He being Neo fights one of the agents and he moves like they move. He does his, time-lapse photography body movements
So cool.
to get out of the way of most of the bullets. He still gets nicked with one. And then the guy walks over to him and he's like, I hate you, you're dumb. Or I forget what he says. I don't have it in front of me. And then Trinity says, dodge this. Shoots him in the head.
Another great line.
Carrie-Anne Moss said she didn't realize when she was saying that was going to be the thing that people like say to her on the streets.
Dodge this.
But it's which is probably a little disconcerting. But
Did they pull a gun on her?
You realize I said that before I shot
Please.
someone, right?
please stop.
They're just pulling guns on her.
But yeah, I would say that's like the most iconic Trinity line probably because it's at least it's the punchiest and easiest to just say.
Yeah, I would
right?
agree with that.
So then she downloads how to be helicopter and then
I
they
would watch that so much more.
yeah.
Grab on, Neo.
It's the Matrix. Anything's
Carry the crazy copter.
Here comes the helicopter.
So Trinity flies the helicopter down. He's on like a Gatling gun,
Yep.
and they just shoot at during the melee downstairs. I guess the fire alarm went off, and there's at least a half foot of standing water on the floor of the room that Morpheus is in.
Yep.
They should have held him in an interior room. I guess hindsight's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But
Basement, maybe.
basement, yeah, anything with 2 doors, right? And as all this fighting's happening, as they're upstairs, whatever, there's that hashtag iconic speech from Agent Smith to Morpheus as Laurence Fishburne's just kind of like blinking in his eyes and like rolling his eyes back in his head a lot.
I thought he did really good in that scene.
He's great. And Agent Smith tells him he stinks.
It's the stink.
Yeah, I can taste it.
I don't think there's soap in the community of Zion.
It doesn't seem to be.
They don't need soap.
Does not seem to be.
Mm.
And Agent Smith tells him, I just want to leave. You give me what I want so I can leave. I hate it here and I want to go away.
Just wants to go home.
And Morpheus is like, same, bro. Like, can you just let me out?
Yeah.
So
He's like, I fucking hate humans. Now let me out so I can go be with humans. It's like, what do you want, man? You don't like anything.
yeah, he doesn't like anything. Does not like anything.
Same.
So then we get closer to the end of the movie. Morpheus jumps out the window, but gets kind of like nicked on his kind of heel by a bullet as he's jumping. So Neo has to jump with him out of there. Then they reenact that scene from A Muppet Christmas Carol where Gonzo and Rizzo are hanging.
Yes.
Hanging on Scrooge's string.
We were so
I don't
close to
wanna talk
not
about
having
this.
the Muppets come up and
Every
you
episode.
brought it in.
Fuck the
I've
Muppets.
heard that the Matrix was deeply influenced by the Muppets. So
Just
that
this
makes
one
sense.
scene.
Yeah. This I will say this one scene. Yeah. It's hard
This
not
one
to
scene, it's hard not to just.
yeah, to make that.
It's hard to deny that this is a one-to-one
Guys, I have one
recreation.
request. One
Waka waka.
request. No Muppets. And we're talking about the fucking Muppets.
Cory's also
You didn't make
damn
us sign
Muppets.
something. I apologize for breaking that. There's that great shot after the helicopter's getting taken down of Trinity. You know, she has to jump off. Neo holds on to her rope and is like dragged across, then like anchors his feet.
Which I remembered incorrectly because I thought he pulled the whole helicopter out.
I thought the same thing. I thought he was also going to pull the helicopter up. I was
Yeah.
kind of sad he didn't
No,
after he
didn't.
just pulled her up.
Pulled up her.
So that
Whatever.
I love this shot. I'll like never forget this shot where Trinity's swinging away from the exploding building with a huge fire behind her. And then she comes and she hits glass in between the camera and her. And it actually like cracks in front of the camera lens. It's so cool. And yeah, he pulls her up, blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, you are the one. Whoa.
What the hell?
And then there's a little bit more business. They try and get everyone out. They don't quite get Neo out in time. And Neo's killed by the agents. As they're walking down the hallway, he gets back up because Trinity on the other end, back in the Nebuchadnezzar, tells him that the Oracle said she was going to fall in love with a man that was the one. So you can't be dead
There you
because
go.
I love you.
That makes way more sense.
You hear me? I love you. Now get up. And he does. He comes back to life because he's,
He gets up.
he's Cyber Jesus. And he starts doing his thing where he's starting to believe, says Morpheus, and he's seeing the world around him as zeros and ones, cascading green
That's how the world
digits,
around me looks.
you know. Yeah, pretty much.
You're the one.
Oh no, I was calling you zeros and ones.
Oh, I'm at least a 2, Robbie.
Yeah, 1 and 1 0, 10.
That's fair.
1 0.
There you go. He's got it. He's got it. 1 0 1 0 1 0. Zeros and ones.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They shoot all their bullets at him. He stops the bullets because he's like, fuck bullets. I don't need to even dodge bullets anymore. I'm beyond dodging.
The bullets
I'm
aren't real.
still upset he
Yes.
didn't throw the bullets back at them.
I was waiting. I
really
was like,
wanted
oh,
the
he's gonna
bullets to
fucking
go back
throw
at
him
him.
back.
I knew you
Because he could.
He could have.
But he's just like, boop, no.
I love that. And it's worth mentioning the subway fight happens before he runs up into that building. Just saying.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that does happen.
Because he's trying to buy Trinity time, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably important to note that he does also kill Agent Smith at the end. That has consequences for the rest of the movie.
Oh, he does. He gets inside
Apologies.
of Agent Smith.
Yeah, he gets inside Agent
if
Smith
you know what I mean.
and makes him glow light out his face.
when
And
he bursts through.
That's the first one?
that's the end of the first one. That's why Agent
man,
Smith is rogue in
It's also the end of
the rest
third
of the
one.
series.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, that's the end of the movie, right?
That's almost the end of the movie. Then you get the scene that's just very cool of the echo of the opening where you hear the voice and you see the text on the screen, except it's Neo talking now. And it seems like he's mad dogging the machines basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then he flies into the air and Rage Against the Machine starts playing and everyone
it does.
jumps out of the car and starts fist pumping and just pogoing. All right. So that's the Matrix 1999. What else were we going to talk about?
So they ended the first with that, and I remember that ending. And I remember being so pumped for the next. Oh, and I remember being so pumped for the next two movies, and then they definitely did not pick up on that same note that he. I mean, the motorcycle. Because does the second one start with the big motorcycle blowing up the booth?
I didn't even know when the first one ended, apparently. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because both of the first two movies start with the Trinity scene.
Yeah.
So I think I was expecting to see more Neo like doing crazy shit like that, and I feel like he didn't really deliver too much on that in the second.
So you get the Trinity scene to start, and let's transition into Reloaded. If you need to take a pause and collect your thoughts, maybe go get a snack, hydrate. So is this
I'm
is this
always
a-
ready.
both Reloaded and Revolutions really just one long unbroken narrative, whereas Reloaded picks up, I think it's 6 months after the end of the Matrix, something like that, because they say like, oh, we've unplugged, we've like gotten more people out of the Matrix in the last 6 months than we have in the last 6 years or something like that. Yes, it's right, exactly. So
Which makes sense with the timing when they're talking about the robots, like, oh, we let them build up. It's okay. They start to get exponential. And if they're at that point in 6 months, then 6 months from there, you only need about like from that point, you probably only need another 2 years before you've woken everyone up from the Matrix.
well, yeah, it is. It's you're paying it forward, right? Like if if these 3 crews of people can take out 30 people
The
a day.
Matrix was the first MLM.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
If you wake up 3 people, then they wake up 3 people.
right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Exactly.
But honestly, in
that's
like
pretty
3
much how it
cycle,
works.
everyone's awake.
Yeah. So it starts, and one of the things I want to key in on with the sequels is that this starts, you get that cool Trinity sequence. It turns out it's sort of like a dream sequence from Neo because Trinity dies at the end of it. And then he gets to Zion. We see them in Zion, and it is immediately so much less cool than the Matrix. Everyone is lame and kind of weirdly arch and sort of like kind of like
eat gross stuff.
yeah, there's like a kid who is like in his 30s, but he's like everyone calls him the kid, and he's just like, hey, mister, I want to be a Matrix fighter. And they're like, you're too young, kid. Come back later. And you're like, what the fuck? This isn't the energy that was in the first movie at all. They were wearing sunglasses and dusters. And now everyone's wearing like robes and holding candles.
It's a really weird, like, and I've said this so many times, but my big thing is the world they've created is not better than the Matrix, like at all. It's in no way better than the Matrix.
Well,
Well, they
I
don't
think
have to
they
go to
know
work
that.
in an office.
Oh my god! I just.
I think they know that,
No
but
suit.
it's
Is
real.
Is there orgies?
Yeah, it's real.
in an
It's
office?
real. I think they value that. So there's Morpheus and his crew, and then you have Jada Pinkett Smith and her crew. Or she's Niobe. And then there's another guy who's reluctantly kind of helpful in his crew. And those are basically the 3 ship captains we care about.
Mhm.
Then there's all the military people. And then there's a few hundred people who just hang out and fuck. and that's Zion for you.
That'd
To
be
be
me.
fair, that should really be their job.
Yeah.
We have to
Oh,
repopulate.
right, yeah.
You know, we do
Yeah.
really need about more. We probably need like 10,000 people.
No, that's
just
a
to
job.
hang out.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, all right. That
Yeah.
makes more sense.
So the thing that people key in on Reloaded is that it takes them a while to get back into sunglasses, dusters. We're in the Matrix doing like cool kung fu.
Like no one cares.
It
about
doesn't
the
even seem
politics
like
of
they
it.
have hookups in Zion. Like,
No,
how do
it
you even
doesn't.
get into the Matrix? You have rock everywhere. This is like an Aztec
Yeah.
civilization.
Pretty much, yeah. So there's this scene where it's like a tribal ceremony. Morpheus, who was the coolest motherfucker in the Matrix, is
So he's like their pastor, you know, like
He knows
the
his
military
prophet.
leader.
Oh.
and
But
He's trying to move the people.
this happens within the first 20 minutes of the movie, and you're just like, this is a sequel to a different movie.
I thought we were
You
going
ended the
downhill.
last one with flying, and now this guy's preaching to me.
When he said you have no idea, like, you don't know how far down the rabbit hole goes, it's like it goes to this. You thought it was going to be cool.
Good opportunity
And
for
now you're
like,
in a cult.
a movie in between the first and the second one about what happens there and what that's about. Like there's a whole side movie that could be made there, or a TV show.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the Animatrix.
Netflix, go for it.
Oh yeah, the Animatrix
Oh.
is supposed to be some of that, right?
I think there's between the Matrix and the Matrix Reloaded in 2001, there's the Matrix Revisited, which is a documentary. And then the Animatrix is a direct-to-video anthology thing. that-
Oh, the name was
they
stupid, so I
wrote.
never watched it.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It's really dumb. It's a real bad name. A real bad name. I've heard
Well,
it's very
I
good
think
though.
it's animated,
Oh.
right?
No, I know,
That's
but like,
that's right down my alley.
So the crowd's so hyped up by this Morpheus speech
yes,
that Morpheus is like, all right, drop the beat. There's a real sweaty dance party that happens. This cave ceremony turns into a cave rave.
yep.
And
Which turns into
often referred to as that like 15-minute long sequence that's like an orgy in the Matrix Reloaded. And it's not quite 15 minutes long. It's not quite an orgy. There's just like people that have see-through shirts that are kind of rubbing up against each other real hard.
I mean,
While
when there's
it's
It's because of the
happening.
rating.
when there's
that-
only
tell
a
that
couple
to
thousand
NXT.
real humans left, what need do you have for modesty?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's while that's happening, there is very real sex happening between Neo and Trinity, which is like super hot.
Really hot.
Like
Yeah,
I like how at
the
the end
hottest
too.
sex that's in a
Yeah.
movie.
It
Yeah.
just shows
Borderline porn.
it's them
mean,
like
really
it's
does,
them
though.
like spooning with each other at the end of it, but
Yeah.
but it's from Neo's perspective.
Yeah.
It's just Neo's ass.
Yeah, they show Keanu butt in this
Yeah.
one. This is the one with Keanu butt.
Could have gone with Trinity, but hey,
Yeah.
You know what? I'm
They're
not
in
even
like some
complaining.
kind of
not even mad.
Keanu, number one dude.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
not even
pumped
mad.
because of all the movies and celebrities we've done. Keanu Reeves is the most likely to actually listen to this fucking thing. Not gonna happen. Most
we-
likely of anyone we've talked about. I feel like
I
it's
don't know. Chevy Chase is pretty needy, so he might listen to the
Nah.
Christmas Vacation
I
episode.
don't want him to listen
Well, I
to it.
feel like with Keanu, if any of us ever bump into him in New York, because that happens, he just wanders around and be like, "Yo, we did a podcast about the Matrix." He'd be like, "What is it? I'd love to listen to it."
I
And he
think you're right.
absolutely
Yeah.
would.
I think you're actually
But
right.
you'd
about
have
that.
to,
That's
like,
cool, man.
bump into him.
I honestly, there's been a lot of stuff about the Matrix. I don't want to listen to it. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
He would let us down nicely.
He would be
at
the
worst.
most likely.
He would do that at least.
It-
Yeah.
Yes.
he would at the very least
Oh,
let us
cool.
know.
I'll check it out.
He would at least kind
Whoa.
of. He would comment
make
on
his
it, be like,
assistant
"Hey, this
listen
is
to it."
cool."
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good time to talk a little bit about the Wachowskis because as we're getting into how strange the sequels get, it really tips the hand on how weird their movies are going to get. So after the Matrix series, the next thing they do is they write V for Vendetta, and it's
You had mentioned that.
directed by the assistant director of the Matrix movies, a guy they work with a lot. And they then uncredited do a rewrite on his next movie, which is the Nicole Kidman Invasion movie, the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers that came out a little after that. The only other movies they direct are Speed Racer in 2008,
Uh-huh.
Cloud Atlas in 2012,
Uh-huh.
and Jupiter's Ascending in 2015.
Uh-huh.
Those are the last ones they write and direct together. And then The Matrix Resurrections is just Lana writing, directing, and producing.
What happened to her sister?
Lily didn't want to be involved. I
So,
guess. I
how
don't know. I don't know them personally, but that's kind of the story.
Maybe she didn't
Is
have
that
any
it's
good
not
ideas.
Maybe.
do you know how people refer
I think
to them?
she said it wasn't like
That's a good. Yeah.
it wasn't like fulfilling to revisit this thing that they already did, is what she said.
Do you know, or like, do they refer to themselves as the Wachowski brothers when they talk about their old work and
Nope.
go by? So
Just the Wachowskis.
they just say the Wachowskis. That's
Yep.
probably the most concise way to do it.
Yep. It's just the Wachowskis. In that run of time, they also co-create and showrun Sense8, which I think was on
Oh.
Netflix, 2015 to 2018.
Yes. I remember seeing ads for that and being like mildly interested, but never
Same.
enough to click on.
Like,
it.
I want to watch it, but it's like
You haven't done enough to grab me, and I don't feel like that's my job.
All right. Well,
Was it good?
I think putting like from the creators of the Matrix was what they thought was going to grab you on that.
That doesn't get me at all.
Not enough.
There was too much time
Not
between those
enough.
two things.
I
I
also
think.
haven't
I mean,
seen
maybe.
the Matrix at that point.
Yeah. So anyway, point
Plus,
being,
Netflix wasn't good at that point either.
sure.
Sorry.
So point being, these sequels point towards how weird they want to get and the kind of weird freaking movies they want to make. The sequels are definitely made by the same people who made Jupiter Ascending, in other words. So
Haven't seen it.
I also haven't seen it.
The
So-
only other thing that happens in the second
Channing
movie-
Tatum's a dog man. Mila Kunis is a space princess.
Yes. So just like real life?
Yeah. He can fly with like rocket boots.
She is
The Matrix.
She is a
the-
space princess.
after the there's two things you need to know about the second Matrix movie: orgy, albino Rastafarians.
Hell yeah.
Done.
Yeah, man.
Time to talk about the Frenchmen. They go to see,
Oh, and the
they
Frenchmen.
eventually make their way
Oh,
back
orgasm
to the Matrix.
cake.
So the politics are not interesting, so we're not going to pay too much attention
Is
to it.
the Frenchman
aside-
different than the Merovingian? Or was
He is
it-
the Merovingian. They
Same
just call him
name,
the
same
Frenchman
name.
a couple
Okay,
times.
yeah,
Frenchman's
that's easy.
easier
Let's
to
go
remember.
Frenchman.
Yeah, we're Americans.
I'm
We
gonna
don't
fuck up his
pronounce
name.
anything.
Don't call him
They're
Frenchman.
Frenchmen. Before they get there, there's a scene with the council who was talking to the military leader who wants them to just like get ready for the fight. Morpheus is like, let's get on up. Let's
That
get
guy
out there.
sucks.
It's literally
that
like
guy
Star
sucks.
Wars Episode 1 vibes where they're talking about like trade embargoes. I'm
I
like,
know.
no, oh God.
Right,
no.
yeah. So that's what I'm trying to get through this. Just want to mention Cornell West is weirdly on the council
He is on the
in
council.
Zion. Whatever, good for him. And
Shout
then
out Cornell West.
shout out Cornell West. I hope he's listening. And
There's no way.
I wouldn't be so
Yet,
sure.
Noah,
I
yet.
didn't think he was in the Matrix sequels, so
Good point. Good point.
maybe he wants to hear about it. He does a great job. He has a few lines. Good job, Cornell West. I hope you're
He
listening.
looks so young. I also hope you're listening. I
He
just
looks
don't think
great
you are.
in this.
He looks great.
We were talking
He
about
looks
how good
great, Cornell.
Keanu looks. We didn't talk enough about Cornell
I didn't think it
West.
was him. I was like, this guy looks
Yeah,
so
I
much
know.
like him, but he looks so
Keanu
young.
does not.
To be fair, I actually had the same thought. He did look super young.
He did. He did. What if Keanu is actually Neo in real life?
It could be.
You ever think about that?
And I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you
I also hope so.
rearrange the letters in Neo, it spells one.
The fuck?
Whoa.
It's almost like
It's
there's only
true.
3 letters and there's only so many things you can spell with it.
I
And
asked
like
the
one of
internet,
them
they
is one.
said yes.
They
There's
1,000%
only one
did
thing
that on
you can spell
purpose.
with it.
That was like
And
their
it's
whole
one.
So anyway, that's the amount that I want to talk about the council and politics, because they say, okay, Morpheus, you get out there. You got to. So who else will go? Niobe says she'll go too.
My point there is like you always let that rogue do their one thing because they're the only one that actually even has a shot here. Like the military's just
Oh
keeping
yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
I think they have more faith in him than they do in the actual military. For him, they're just like, yeah, okay, buddy.
You know what? And
Yeah,
he
we
probably
need our
knew-
defenses.
he probably
you
knows
block
that
those
too. He
robots.
was a smart guy, and he's like, that's making him insecure. He's backed into a corner.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So they get on out there, and then they just go. That's the last time Neo's in Zion.
Yeah.
Fuck Zion.
He does go and talk to the Oracle again.
Yep.
Seraph is introduced, who is the Oracle's like bodyguard.
Yep.
Oracle tells him like, yeah, stuff's getting weird, and then she pieces out, and then
She tells him a little bit more about the programs,
Yes.
that she's also a program,
Yeah.
which is it's an interesting little take
It's
of
super
like,
interesting.
because if she's created by the Matrix, why would she? And they don't ever fully go into like what are her motives? Like, why does she want humanity to be free? Was she just
So-
programmed that way?
I'm going to make a comment, and I don't know if this is true or not.
Oh, you're an idiot. Sorry. What's your-
Never mind. I'm not going to make it now. No, but I had listened to a few things after this, and I think someone had mentioned that she's a program based to. So when they first made the Matrix, they made it like way too aggressive, right?
Yep.
Where
No,
they're
they
co-
made it way too good.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And everyone lost their minds.
And everyone
basically.
lost their minds, and then they did the exact opposite, where they're completely oppressed. Right? They were living in fear the whole time.
No, you just said you were going to be wrong, so I wanted to do that.
God damn it. So I think what they had mentioned was that she was a program created to kind of like empathize with humanity and to like help them. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, you are.
And to like integrate their emotions and their feelings better into
Part
the
of the
Matrix
false
to make
hope
it
path.
Yes.
right. Exactly.
They needed hope. That's what Neo's does.
Right. Exactly. So she's like the opposite of what the architect is. Right.
They kind of are supposed to.
Or they
Balance out.
They're supposed to balance out. Like it's supposed to be like there's a light and a dark because there needs to be balance.
right.
Not necessarily to oppose each other, but she decides that she wants to break the cycle in this one, and that's why she's giving Neo slightly different information this time around.
Okay.
And you can kind of get that hint from the rest of the world because it's again the third one, but they introduced the programs that he fell in love and he has a daughter and like
Yep.
so the programs themselves are
That's on the
evolving.
subway platform at the beginning of Revolutions. Yeah.
You don't like we think of humans as evolving, but we don't consider like the rest of the world has always been evolving around us too. Like dogs are probably significantly more intelligent than they were 26,000 years
Yeah, that's a
ago.
good point.
And we have robots that are going through a similar stage of evolution. Like it's their time now too. So for them to be developing, I don't know, it's just such an interesting concept of like, would AI start to breed its own versions of love and
Yeah.
and ownership and creation and all of that? Like,
Yeah, we need to know more about how the human mind works or
Yeah.
create that kind of AI to find out.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's pretty cool. Also, back to that scene when he's talking to the Oracle, there's something about them sitting on this like mundane park bench, just sitting like they're just like having like a cup of tea on like a Sunday afternoon, casually talking about like some of the like most important shit in the entire trilogy. Is I don't know, it hits well.
Yeah, it's great. And then it sets up right when she leaves conveniently. Agent Smith walks into the playground and they
Best fight
have
scene.
a fight known as the Burly Brawl.
the burly
By
bro.
who?
That's a dumb name.
Apparently, that was the working title when they were when the CGI animators were designing the sequence, and they just never came up with a better name for it. So I think it's called like the Burly Brawl on like the soundtrack track that's playing is called the Burly Brawl. So
It's got some good fight scenes.
Agent Smith comes out and you see that now he like puts his hand in people and they also become Agent Smith, and now there's a bunch of Smiths
Yep.
and Neo fights them.
Just like the real world, Smiths everywhere.
Yeah, Smith everywhere. And there's a lot of fun stuff with early-ish CGI tricks. I mean, 10 years into CGI, but very fully CGI'd characters kind of bouncing around and lots of Smiths, and he does some pole tricks, and
The spinning pole trick.
the spinning
the
pole
end
trick's
is-
fun.
Oh.
I love describing them as pole tricks.
He does some fun tricks.
He
They
does
clap
some
for
pole
him.
Keanu does
dancing.
everything.
They're very entertained by his
Hell
tricks.
yeah.
Can you describe the pole, the specific pole scene that you're talking about?
Yeah, so I like the part where he puts the pole down and then runs on their faces in a circle.
That's fun. That is fun.
That is a good part, but the best part is when there's like 100 Smiths that all like pile onto him, and then he does this like pole spin that just like throws them all away. Like he has this like force,
Yes.
like halo bubble shield thing that just throws them all to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
badass.
I like when he throws a Smith into a bunch of Smiths and they all fall over and there's a bowling pin sound.
Yeah, that was great.
I didn't notice that.
Before that, though, we did start to talk about the Frenchman. I feel like we were going to talk about him a little bit.
Orgasm
We
cake.
were, and then I think
That's
I
it.
remembered that this happens first. This is just a really cool fight, and it's off-cited, and people say it looks dumb, and those people are dumb.
For some reason, I thought that was the end of the movie, but the fight
That's
is it's not.
that's the first half of the movie. for sure.
Jesus, these movies, man.
All right, so the Frenchman.
So they decide to go see the Merovingian because they are told by the Oracle, so that's the order it happens in, that he has information on
good
how
cakes.
to get to the source.
The
right?
key maker.
Yes.
No, he has the key maker. You need the key maker to get to the source.
Oh, the
Correct,
key
yeah.
maker.
You need the key maker to get to the source. The
Yep.
Merovingian has the key maker. So yeah, that happens after the Oracle, but she's the one who provides this information.
Correct.
They go to this hotel restaurant where the Merovingian, the Frenchman, is hanging out with his wife, Persephone, played by Monica Bellucci, at like peak, whatever you want to say that is.
Bellucci.
Peak Bellucci gets in there.
Goddamn.
Yeah, still hot too. So
Yeah.
this is a quick digression. She was on an episode of Call My Agent, which was this French sitcom, like an office place sitcom about a talent agency in Paris that has like a lot of has a lot of famous clients. So every episode's about a different famous client working with these agents. And she was on one of them, and like the storyline was that she was like interested in dating one of the agents, and she was, I think, like in her 50s at the time, like still super hot.
Wait, how old is she in the movie?
In the movie, I don't know. I think she's around 30.
Oh, okay.
But this was like an episode that came out in the last few years.
I thought you were saying that was before. the
Oh, no,
Matrix.
no,
I was
no.
like,
This was
God,
like
motherfucking
2019.
damn.
She's 85 actually in the
my
Matrix.
It's
God.
like
I don't even
2018,
care.
2019. I don't know. Still hot. And she's technically the oldest Bond girl because she's the inspector. And she was also in her 50s at the time. So the Merovingian here wears a lot of red, married to Persephone. It turns out in Revolutions has his own Charon, has his own boatman, but he's a subway man instead. That
It's really
ferries programs from one side to the other.
By the way, we were talking about this when I started watching the third one, and that happened. I realized you're right. He's definitely Hades. He's
Yeah.
1,000% Hades.
Definitely
Like
Hades.
there's no question about it. He's Hades.
Wait, who did you think he was?
I thought he was who did I say?
Dionysus, just because he's like,
Dionysus.
he's really
yeah,
into
yeah.
drinking and sex.
Okay, yeah.
And like he has like the orgasm cake. That's Dionysus. That's not Hades, but
But Hades did it, but he was doing it for nefarious purposes. So I guess that makes it.
like, sure.
Context,
Misinterpretation of Hades. I have a whole rant about Hades. I'm gonna save that for a different day.
Yeah, so he gives that lady the orgasm cake. She goes to the bathroom.
Wait, hold on.
Merovingian follows her into the women's room.
Hold on.
Persephone
Let's-
goes into the men's room, makes out with Keanu.
What are we
gotta back up.
rewinding to?
The orgasm cake. You can just throw out the word orgasm cake.
Wait,
and
we
not
talked
explain
about
It's like the sixth time someone's mentioned it. Why am
Yeah,
I
we
getting
didn't
called on
explain
it?
it though. Anybody?
What's to explain?
A woman eats it, she has an orgasm. Done. Rastafarian.
All right, fine. Maybe
albinos.
Maybe it's
We're
simpler
not
than
to
I
the
thought.
Rastafarian
Robot fight
albinos yet.
Continue.
They
Third
kiss-
movie.
they're kissing
they
in
beat
the bathroom.
robots.
All right, they're in the
They're kissing in the
bathroom. They're
bathroom.
making
Kidding,
out.
Because he's the one.
He's the one.
They end up at the Merovingian chalet because the Merovingian turns them down to meet the key maker.
Yep. He's like, no, I don't want to do it.
Persephone,
No reasons, by the way. He like has no motives in this. He's just
yeah,
like,
he just doesn't want to.
nope. Okay.
He's fickle. So Persephone is like, actually, that guy sucks. He's definitely hooking up with that lady in the bathroom. So I'm going to bring you to the keymaster. Brings him to the chalet. They give them the keymaster. The Merovingian comes back before they can get out with the keymaker, sees what they're doing, six the albino Rastafarians
Yes.
on the keymaker. So now that splits, Neo stays and fights in the room where the Merovingian six his goons on him.
Great scene, by the way.
Great scene. Meanwhile, Neo is there. Trinity, Morpheus, and the Keymaker head out to the highway. And it's dope as hell.
So only thing I want to mention there with this scene, I thought it was really cool because they introduced the twins and they're kind of like wraiths, like they phase. They can only be killed by silver. You have the Merovingian and Persephone who are very clearly like the Greek god, placeholders. So it's just cool that they introduced like all of the human myths of like ghost stories as different programs. And I mentioned
Yeah,
this
it
when we
was
were
really
watching
cool.
it,
That's
but
a
like
good point.
it's just a cool like, these are ghosts. Like I'm sure there's like some of the werewolf myth got in there too. There's probably other programs we could have meeting that we don't see that are also like failed human myths that are horror stories we came up with, which I just think is a fun little
Yeah, it's a good point.
Does anybody else think the keymaker is kind of forced in there
yes.
and unneeded? Yeah. I was just like, Neo's the one.
Yeah.
He could just, there is no lock and the door's open.
Yeah.
Guess I didn't really need him.
Yeah.
It just
more
felt like
he knew
this is
how
weird.
to get there. There was like a bunch of timing and different things that had to
Either
happen in
way.
a specific
Yeah.
order.
Yeah.
I looked at him as like either like a brute force program or as a skeleton key. Like if you try to think of these people as what their computer counterparts would be,
Yeah.
You know, like, so he was just kind of like the tool they needed to use to
makes
break
sense.
in.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just feel like it was like a little forced.
Yeah, no,
Him like being there.
kind of
They were like, "Oh, this movie's getting kind of long. Like, we need to speed this up a little bit."
push the plot along.
The fight scene before the highway scene was fantastic too, because they're in this whatever this like hotel, or where are they exactly?
He said the hotel restaurant, but it looked like they went into.
Well,
like,
they
his,
go
like,
to the
ground.
Merovingian chalet because then
Okay, the chalet.
because then
chalet.
Neo eventually learns that he's 500 miles
Cut
from
it.
the city.
Oh yes, they keep throwing him to like the mountains or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the chalet.
But there's all these like medieval weapons.
that's what
on
the
the
keymaker's
wall.
for. He could have opened the doors, but the keymaker knows the map.
Oh.
Right, yeah.
He held a purpose.
Yeah.
He knew the API endpoint to connect to the architect.
Yeah, he knew all that shit. But there's like all these medieval weapons on the walls, so they're fighting with like broadswords and like rapiers and like all this cool
Just
shit.
whatever's around. Yeah, that's
It was
cool.
really cool.
I wasn't a big fan of the highway fight scene. I thought it was too chaotic and cluttered, and I don't feel like it.
I
was
disagree. I
my
thought it was
favorite, to be
Fucking
honest.
awesome.
It was like
Yeah, it's one of the best
It was like
scenes in any movie ever.
classic action movie scene.
It was maybe extended too long.
Maybe that was the problem.
Well, it was just like every other action highway scene, you know.
Yeah, I just wasn't super. Maybe I just don't like highway scenes. I'm not a very huge. I think the only ones that did it for me was Fast and the Furious.
Oh yeah.
I think this is a specifically amazing freeway scene because they actually built the damn thing and actually crashed like 300 cars on it.
That's so cool.
but you can't factor that into how good something is. It's like
Well, because it looks tactile. It actually looks real. It's not.
true.
It's not like burly roll kinds of CGI animating cars flipping
That looked
over.
real.
That's fair.
It's this actual shit. They built almost mile and a half long freeway out in the desert, and
That's awesome.
were donated. I don't know if it was by Ford or Chevy, whoever was the cars in there, donated them a bunch of cars to actually like flip over. So there's definitely like reaches a kind of comedic point where you're seeing all these cars flip over in the background,
Yeah,
and then it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
And then it's just like different people who were like 20 cars behind should have hit the brakes,
Yeah.
and their car's flipping over now too.
Did you just imagine the news stories that day? Like there was a 1,600 car pileup on the I-95.
Yeah, the whole thing's gone.
all of I-95 flipped over.
the
just
highway's
nuts.
done. No more.
We're retiring this highway.
We're also out of cars.
But yeah, that sequence is awesome. Morpheus slices an entire car with a katana. It's so cool.
Yeah, he does.
It's just dope. They get them ghosts. They blow up their car. They go flying up into the air. I guess that's where their ghost powers go.
When they phase, they don't stay the same speed as what they were with.
Yeah, the phasing's fun.
Phasing.
Phasing from a car into the car behind you and just like materializing in the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
That was fun.
It's good shit. Hey, movie good. I say.
Architect talks to the
We
architect.
do podcasts like that now.
We do podcast.
He
Fuck that
choose
now.
Trinity choose, and then movie continue.
We make
next
short
movie.
with
So-
less word.
The other big things to mention from The Matrix Reloaded, there are these 3 crews that get sent out there. They each have to do a job in order to get Neo to the source through the right door at the right time.
Yes.
What happens is one of the crew, so they all have to do a job in the Matrix. It's like shut down this
Power grid. Or
power.
something?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember the word. For like shut down the power grid for this block at the same time that someone else like springs a lock at the same time that Neo and the keymaker are standing in front of the right door and open it. Basically, there's just like what?
There's like a 1 minute window.
Yeah, there's a 1 minute window.
Everything
all these things
has
have
to go
happen.
correct. Yeah.
Classic heist movie.
Trinity's not in there because Neo doesn't want her to die. So
Right.
basically, what happens is one of the crews, not the one with Jada Pinkett Smith, just completely beefs it. They all die, and, except for one dude, because there's a scene where a couple of them are about to get on the phone to get through the Matrix, and Agent Smith shows up and like puts his hand into the dude, and then the dude goes back through the telephone into the real world. So now the Agent Smith infected dude is back in the real world.
Oh.
That's important to note going forward.
It is.
Anyway, the team dies and it's not going to work. So Trinity, seeing this happen, decides to go in anyway and starts doing the action sequence that Neo dreamt of at the beginning of the movie. That ends with her dying. It works. She gets it all turned on. Neo goes through the door and then talks to the architect, who says really big words that at the time people complained that he was unnecessarily complicated in his explanation. But
Vis-a-vis. Yeah.
ergo,
Vis-a-vis.
parodied by Will Ferrell, who we talked about earlier, may have cut out or not. Anyway, so the short version is this is the 6th time that some version of Neo has made it to this point. Neo's an anomaly, but a predictable anomaly that rises out from, the way that the Matrix is designed now, because there has to be hope. So there's this prophecy. There has to be some humans who are left alive to rebuild civilization. And without this hope, the Matrix collapses pretty much. And he's given the choice to either do what every other Neo's done, which is go and reset the Matrix. And the benefit is he gets to pick who repopulates or something.
The choice was he could go back and let the humans die, pick 16 to repopulate with, or he could go back and stop this from happening. But by him stopping it from happening would destroy the entire Matrix, is what the architect said.
Correct.
And everyone would die.
Yes.
The robots would die. Everything would just end. But it's important to know he's speaking with his enemy right now. Obviously, he's not going to give him the 2 actual outcomes. He's going to tell him what he wants him to do.
Yes. And also, you see this later in the 3rd one where the Oracle tells him, I don't know. Once they get into uncharted territory, these are programs. They're predictive, but they don't actually know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So he's the only option that a Neo has taken before is that option. So he doesn't actually know what happens if he goes through the other door.
They assume it's the total destruction because to them that is the total destruction.
That's the logic that would follow. But Neo is, cyber Jesus. He's the real one. He's the realest one.
He's the realest one.
He keeps it real.
So he, of course, decides to go save Trinity. In doing so, perhaps dooming everyone to die forever.
Fuck him.
Just an interesting moral.
Yeah. So he saves Trinity, but goes into a coma in the process, they think. And the last shot of the Matrix Reloaded is him in the ship's, med bay. And next to him in the med bay is the dude that Agent Smith zapped into before coming back to the real world. And then to be continued. And what did we say? Calm Like a Bomb plays this one? Yeah, then Calm Like a Bomb plays. Matrix Revolutions is up next. And there actually isn't that much that happens. There's just very long sequences.
Robot fights.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a big portion of it. It's just the robots invading Zion.
Yep.
Neo and Smith fight. Make a deal with robots first. Neo Smith fight. He does a good job. Robots like, all right, we won't fuck with you. Movie end.
Yep.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. So that guy that's Agent Smith comes back to life, stabs his way out of the ship, makes it onto Neo and Trinity's ship. Neo and Trinity have essentially said, give us one of the ships. We're going to go do this. You guys go back. One of the ships got destroyed. You later find out by the Agent Smith guy. And that's pretty much where it starts. One of the ships is destroyed, so there's only 2 left.
Yep.
Neo and Trinity take one. That guy stows away on it pretty much.
He killed the robots at the end of the 2nd one too, didn't he? That's what put him in the coma.
Oh, he did the stop.
He did the stop, and he murdered him.
Oh, yeah.
In the real world.
Really
That's very
important to
important.
note.
Good point.
Yes, sorry.
The reason he goes into a coma is he gets back into the real world, and then as the robots are attacking in the real world, he uses similar powers to what he did in the Matrix.
His own EMP.
Yes, he does his own EMP essentially.
Which makes sense because if he can control the code in the Matrix was written by the robots. They presumably run off the same code. There's no reason why they wouldn't.
Yep. So just to take this in more digestible chunks, the team that goes back is racing against time to get back before all the humans die. So the humans are dying.
Rapidly.
We dying out here.
Explain until it's happening.
Yeah.
And they're going to use the EMP, but there's really no reason why they need to rush back until they're going to shoot off that EMP in the entryway.
Yeah,
Maybe they're just trying to help.
Pretty much. So the last stand of humanity happens at Zion, and it's this really long. I think it's legitimately 25 minutes long, this sequence.
Yeah. It's a good sequence.
Yeah, there's
it's
mechs.
a very good sequence.
There's mechs in this one.
Yes.
That's the best part.
I think
That
20 minutes
dude and
are
then mech.
that one dude shooting
Oh.
off infinite rounds in this mech.
I love the two
The
chicks
kid
shooting the
has to
rocket.
keep him, reloaded.
The,
Oh,
the
yeah.
two girls shooting the rocket were my favorite.
was pretty
Loved.
cool.
I loved
Yes.
how resourceful they were, and I love that they got it done with just a rocket launcher in each other. Even though there's all this mech battle going on, the mechs
Yeah.
were so awesome. But what made the most difference was those two women with
This
the
is
rocket
good to
launcher.
know.
The movie does this thing that like all the people we care about aren't in Zion for this final fight. So they have introduced these other characters in Reloaded and
They don't-
in Revolutions. They become your point of view characters. Basically, you have in the mech combat, it's Captain Mifune with the kid. The kid's out there delivering more rounds to the mechs.
Correct. Yeah.
In the worst job,
Mhm.
because he has just like a shaky cart that he has to run through the battlefield over giant robots.
I love the part where they open up the door and there's just like one of the sentinels waiting for him. And I'm like, of course a sentinel would be like,
Yeah.
and like, luckily they get him in the last minute, but it's like, Jesus, like, yeah, that's terrifying.
It's so good. So you have those people doing that. You have the two women, Link's wife and the other woman, and they have a big rocket launcher and they're moving around to make strategic strikes.
Correct. Yeah.
Link's wife makes
these,
it, other lady doesn't.
These big drills, right?
Trying
that
to
are
hit
drilling
the
through.
blind spots of the sentinels because
Oh,
they're
yes.
swimming
So they
around
stop
trying to
them.
get every angle.
Yes.
So they're like, where can I hit that they're not going to be expecting? It's a mine.
So yeah, most of the military people are just out in the front line. They're on the. They keep saying they're on the docks. They never give you a map of Zion, but they're saying they're on the docks.
Mhm.
All the council and most of the civilians, they're all in like this sealed up bunker, pretty much. So there's a big drill trying to get at them.
Which most of this could have been explained by like a minute of exposition where they're like, we took the space over from a and then you'd be like, oh, all of this makes sense now.
Yeah.
Or them looking at a 3D, like a hologram diagram,
Like
this
right
is
when
what,
Neo gets
what it
there,
looks like, and they're going to
Are
drill
Are
through
you
here
gonna,
to get to
are you
here.
gonna take away the Neo ass scene? Like, what,
Yeah, that's where it would have to come.
Instead,
where are
we
you
got
gonna
see
cut
his
this
ass.
from?
So we got
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Keanu, but so yeah, that's pretty much what happens now. Is there's some business with they know that the ships are coming back, but there's only one of them. They've lost their communication.
Yes.
So it's Morpheus, Niobe, and everyone remaining on the crew. And there's just sort of like sort of leap of faith that they're trying to get the door open anyway, but the door won't open. Captain Mifune goes down after taking out a really, way more than his share of robots. He did a good job.
He did very good.
And so then as he's like about to go down, he says to the kid, like, oh, you have to go do it. And I thought he meant like go over there and there's like a fail safe to pull or something. No, he meant you get in the mech and you walk over there. And
This
do
thing
it.
you've never used, this
Yeah.
complicated
He was halfway
fighting,
through training
He was
school,
halfway
man.
through.
He was halfway through.
which is like they just explained how it worked, probably.
Yeah.
I was thinking that watching it too, where like he's mowing them down, and it's like this is such a futile battle. Like these are just like there's no distinction
He gets,
from
like,
one
4
to
of
the
them.
other. They're all a part of the same program. You could kill 10,000, 10 million.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just
and it
doesn't
wouldn't
matter.
Yeah.
Yep. So
It's
Then we
nuts.
wouldn't have a second movie.
No, but the point is that it's so futile. Like I think that's
Yeah.
the point
Yeah.
of the whole like you fight anyway.
So yeah, you do get this hero moment where they get the door open in time. I don't think we see the kid. No, we do see the kid again. He's down there with the survivors.
He gets the
Yeah, he does. He gets the door open. The remaining ship comes through, sets off the EMP, and then like crashes. And there's like a moment of reunion. Link and his wife, and these other people who've made it. Morpheus made it. They're back. They all go hang out with the civilians. So they've set this off. There's like a moment of celebration, and then it's just like, oh, that was like 1% of the robots, and here come the rest of them.
Yep.
And then I guess we could swap over to
'cause-
Neo and Trinity.
So there was the drill, and like the robots come to start back up. But we did skip over the beginning subway intro scene, and I just do want to mention real quick
Oh, that's important.
that there
too.
was the
And the Merovingian scene that comes after it.
so there was that whole intro scene where you meet these programs that fell in love, and they get into the nature of like love, like you invented the definition.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you get to keep like ownership of the word, which was just a very interesting concept. And then they introduced that little girl that
Yes.
was going to be destroyed by the robots because she doesn't have a purpose.
Yes,
And
she was a
everything in the
program
Matrix-
born from love, not written
In-
for function.
for function. So, and I just want to mention that, and I'll tie this back in.
Yeah, no, it's good. And that's Sati, I think, is the girl's name.
And so like she was going to be destroyed just because she didn't have a quote unquote purpose. So it's just an interesting picture of the world that the robots have made. And I guess it kind of gives me my answer to why can't the humans just live in the Matrix? Because I don't think there's creativity in the Matrix. There can't be creativity in the Matrix.
Yeah.
It'll break everything.
It will break everything. It's got to be 1999, and 1999 only existed at 1999. So
that subway bit is fun. It's them explaining all that to them, telling Neo he can't go with them because the train man will be mad. So Trinity, Morpheus, and Seraph have to go into the Merovingians S&M club to go parlay with him. Monica Bellucci wearing even more revealing, like red pleather dress now. A+.
Plot.
And, yeah.
Bellucciing it up.
Yeah. Yep. And then they're like, he's like, no, he's mine. I'm going to keep him forever. And then they're like, we got guns. We're going to shoot you. And he's like, okay, fine. And then they get Neo back.
You do have
pretty much
guns.
what
I
happens
see
there.
that.
Yeah, shit.
Well, why don't they have more EMPs? So they have all these mechs, all these bullets, but they have one EMP.
I thought the same thing. It takes out their equipment too. It's a last ditch thing.
Yeah.
But you gotta have like a couple of them, no?
Well, no, like it takes out their everything.
Well, I know, but for like impending doom, like you think you'd have like more of a failsafe.
But that's the problem, that they
EMP.
can't close the gate again because all the power's been knocked out.
Well,
So you need some backup EMPs.
And so like they did that one on the docks, but like again, we don't know too much about the city, but say they had done it closer and it shuts off their life support systems.
Yeah.
Like we don't know, like they're underground. So there's something that's probably like at least pumping in oxygen. Like there's probably systems there that are running that like would get completely fucked up and they would have like even less. I don't know. It seems like the EMPs are like a dangerous thing to use even in our world because they would knock out just anything in the area. You don't get to control it.
It does seem like it's like we have no other choice. We need to use this.
Yeah.
It's really
live.
the only weapon they have.
Yeah.
Against the robots, yeah.
Yeah.
So interspersed with that is Neo and Trinity are going to the Machine City because Neo's like, this is where I have to go. The Smith guy pops up and they fight and he blinds Neo with some like chemical exhaust. And
With science.
now Neo can't see anymore, but he sees like flaming shapes pretty much. He's pretty much Daredevil now.
Technology.
He can only see the tech.
Right.
Yes. So he couldn't really see Trinity, but he can see what's going on through the Matrix, basically.
Pretty much.
Which again makes sense because he can see the programs.
Mhm. So then they get to the Machine City. There's for a movie I hadn't seen before, probably my absolute favorite part and like a genuinely affecting moment is what you've seen of the world is either underground and what you've seen above ground is dark. You're mostly in like sewers the whole time.
Yes.
Or you're in these horrific nightmare visions of like harvesting fields of human pods that are like glowing faintly red under a dark sky. They go through and they're flying their ship and they have to take evasive maneuvers to get away from some of these robots. And they eventually break the cloud cover. And it turns out that above the cloud cover, it's normal. There's blue skies. And it's like a genuinely affecting moment.
It's like 30 seconds, but so beautiful.
Yeah, and they see the sun for the first time in their lives.
They don't even mention it.
No, they don't have to.
It's not talked about. It's just like
It is sublime in like a literal
Did that
sense.
Gangstar song come out before or after the Matrix?
That's a good question. It's funny because I was thinking that in my head when you had mentioned that above the clouds.
Oh, okay.
What if it was a reference to that?
Okay, maybe. But yeah, no, that was like something that was kind of like, oh shit, that's
I don't
a
know
real
if
that's a real movie magic moment.
did anybody else
That's
have
great.
the thought of like, well, all of this has been unnecessary because the robots could have, instead of enslaving humanity, built towers up above the clouds and put solar panels above
also,
the clouds.
I was also thinking
I
like
did think
Or
that.
like
they
take
could figure
care.
out how to just fucking leave Earth. No,
They could do that.
go
There
to
was
Mars,
a lot
dude.
of
What the fuck
options
you
that
need Earth
didn't
for?
involve.
they don't
enslaving
need
humanity
atmosphere
like that.
clearly.
Yeah, go to
It's-
Mars, go to Jupiter.
The thing that
They
it,
didn't have any lawn.
Go to Jupiter.
the thing that it tells me is that like
Make minimal progress.
these robots were created by humans and they're not all that different from humans. Smith may give these speeches of how they're so much better, but if they were better, they'd go to space. They
Yeah.
do like they didn't
wouldn't be
need to
here.
enslave humanity. They did it because of what humanity did to them beforehand.
Well,
would be
that's
there if
that's a
humanity was
consistent thing, right? That's the Frankenstein thing. That's Cylons in Battlestar Galactica. That's
Oh, interesting. I haven't seen
yeah.
Galactic.
Well, yeah, Cylons like so far outpace humans, but they're just mad at them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they're chasing humans to extinction because they're just pissed off at humans.
It's funny because those characters always have the like, we're so different, we're so much better than you, and it's like, well, what are you doing? You're doing the worst thing humans do right now, like literally the worst thing they do. You're no better.
Yeah,
Hypocrites.
that's a good point.
Exactly.
All right, so he's they go
Neo
above the
parlays with the
clouds.
space baby.
He does parlay with the space
Yeah,
baby.
sorry. It does look like a space, like a Teletubby robot baby.
Looks like a baby.
Just as creepy in both.
Yeah.
Also, Trinity dies.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, she gets stabbed with a few.
They
rods or
they
whatever.
have to make like a crash landing in a tower. She gets hit all the rods. There's
I
like
don't
8
even know
rods
where
to
the
her.
rods came from. There was
I don't know
more
either,
rods
man.
than were necessary. Is
I don't
what
know
they
either.
did there.
She had like 6 rods through her, and she's still talking. You don't even know until they show it.
She was
Yes.
calm. She was just like, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
She wasn't moving, so it's like, oh, they're gonna pan down. She like doesn't have a bottom half, and that's essentially
Oh,
what happens.
Yeah.
You're
just
stabbed
filled with rods.
multiple times.
No,
Yeah.
my favorite half.
So Neo's sad, and he's got like he doesn't have any sight, but since they're in the machine city, he has a pretty good awareness at this point.
I was gonna make a comment.
He climbs up to the, preconceived parlay point. A big kind of spidery, octopusy thing kind of pops up in front of him.
A formation of all
Yeah.
the robots
And then-
collectively come together.
Yes,
and
then there's a bunch of robots that form like a face that
Yeah.
talks to him.
that looks like a baby.
That looks like a baby. And it basically says like, what the fuck? Get out of here. You're not supposed to be here. And he's like, I've come to parlay. And
I declare parlay.
He takes off gloves and just like throws it on the ground.
and the baby's like, the ways of old. Go on.
What is that from, by the way?
Which part?
I've come to
the
parlay
parlay
is
thing.
from like
A lot of
everything.
things. There's
No,
a big
no,
part
no,
of the
no,
first
no.
Pirates of the Caribbean
That's what I was
movie.
thinking of. Oh no, he's declared parlay. We have to accept this.
Yeah. So
From
Neo,
the robot's perspective, though, like, what's the downside, right? Like, his ship is broken. He's in their city.
Yeah, what you got to lose?
I have something to tell you.
Hear him out.
Sure, I'm
All right,
going to
we'll
murder
just
you,
kill
in
you,
like
so-
15 minutes. I guess I can reschedule that for 30. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, sure.
All I have is the rest of eternity, so
Exactly.
I guess I can do this.
so Neo basically says Agent Smith's taken over the whole Matrix, and he will find a way to spread out here and take out all of you too. Neo's deal that he offers is, I will take out Agent Smith, and you have to not kill all the humans. There has to be a truce
just peace.
Why did they follow through?
well, for one,
because
he
they
didn't
couldn't
give them,
stop Smith themselves.
No, but he could have killed Smith and they could have just killed Neo.
They're logical machines.
And that was where I was kind of going with the eternity thing. Is like, so for one, he didn't give them a timeline or anything. He just said peace. And so for them, it's like, okay, we could give them peace for the next 100 years, which is more than all of their living memories, and that's nothing for us.
And kill them all.
Well, and now we have the fourth. I don't know how they're going to tie that in, but for the robot's perspective, like even brokering peace for 1,000 years is it's a
Nothing.
waiting game.
Like-
They'll still be around.
The fourth one might just be them like trying to trick him back into the Matrix. Like
I'm very excited to see where they go with it.
same.
I really am too. So we get the ending part now. Sati's there, and the Oracle and the Architect are talking to each other.
And I just thought that was really cool because like we have that the robots don't allow anything without a purpose, but we have this program that was created out of love who changed the entire sun for the whole Matrix, and it's gorgeous and it's new, and it's just kind of like the whole nature of art. I know I've heard for a while, you get you're doing a hobby for a career and blah 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 blah, and like right around this time we had the Spotify's your year wrapped come up. And I noticed I've listened to 50,000 hours of music this year, and my top two auras were focused and determined. And all of the work I've done this year has been because of artists supporting me. And it's interesting, like and I don't want to say all the art, but like what wouldn't have been created in human history without the motivation from art. And here you have in the movie like this, the robots themselves kind of going through that same journey of like, oh shit, we've lost something of like how much more art could they have created? What else could robots have done if they hadn't been holding everything in themselves into this? I don't know.
It would have been like stale and stagnant.
Well, and they keep resetting tonight. So it's interesting of like what their culture could have been. Like they held themselves back too at the same time. And I don't know. I just thought it was.
Yeah, like you're saying, like AI, if there's nothing to learn from, it doesn't advance.
It just
stays. Yeah.
It just stays. And if they just keep cutting the things off that aren't necessary, you're more efficient, sure, but you're never going to grow. You're never going to expand. You're not going to motivate anyone. I don't know. It's just, we've had this debate in culture for a while about like what the purpose of art is and all that stuff. But like, it seems pretty clear to me. It supports everything, makes life worth living. And it made the sun way more beautiful in the Matrix.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good spot to end Revolutions on specifically. Obviously, the people back in Zion are like, oh, he did it. He won.
He beat Smith.
Yeah. He beats the hell out of Smith.
I don't know if we said that.
Well,
Awesome.
so
fucked him up.
through some mind tricks, basically. Yes, he 1v1s the Prime Smith,
so
while the other Smiths are watching.
So that's what the Oracle told him too, was everything that has a beginning has to have an end. And that goes through his head right before he lets Smith kill him because he knows they both have to have an end.
Mm-hmm. I have a couple open-ended questions that I did want to. First off, we haven't mentioned that this has been said to be, at least in part, trans allegory.
Yes.
And that's, you get it.
If I can add on to that, when we were talking about the conservative like red pill thing,
Yeah.
there's like a whole big breakdown of it where it's really funny because the red pill back at that time was one of the hormone therapy pills that they gave to people.
That's what I read about.
And then like the blue pill was like a different type. So like when conservatives are like, you're going to take the red pill, it's like, yeah, sure, I'll be trans too, man. Yeah, high five.
It's estrogen.
Yeah, like sure, cool, let's do estrogen. Like you're cool.
Yeah, let's do it, bro.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's just, I maybe don't have the capacity to get too deeply into that, but it's obviously worth mentioning. Which pill would you guys have taken?
I don't know, man. I think no, because I did want to bring this up when we were talking about Cypher, about having that choice of, if you ended up going, say you took the red pill, you go into the Matrix, or you come out of the Matrix, and you have the option of going back into it, what would you do? What would you pick? Because I feel like that's a better barometer than you've never been outside of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is.
Once you see what it's actually like.
Yeah, once you really know what
how
it's
hard
like.
the struggle is going to be.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And you're not the one, so it's not like you're.
It's like, I don't fucking matter at all.
You see this?
Yeah,
man?
in Cypher's defense, he's probably thinking like, I'm not affecting this. like
the one's gonna do what the one's gonna do.
Are you gonna have
I'm
sloppy steaks
47.
outside of the Matrix?
I would take just because of the person I am, I would take the red pill just because of my curiosity, and I would be bored in the Matrix.
Yeah.
I think I'd be super intimidated by Morpheus and like, well, this is a cool guy. I don't want him to think I'm lame. I'll take the red pill.
It's tough.
Then I get there and be like, oh fuck.
Shit.
I'd just be like, are these the only two options? Because I don't think fighting was ever the goal there. They really should have just tried to like work things out with the robots.
Now, what happens if you take both pills?
Hell yeah.
Well,
That's what I want to know
We
about.
don't know about that.
So did you guys play Cyberpunk 2077?
Yes, I did.
I tried it,
So in the game,
kind of. I guess you could call it trying it.
The game came out a year and a week ago, so I don't mind spoiling this part of it. At the end of Act 1, you put like a chip into your brain, pretty much. It's like an encryption of a person. This is straight out of Neuromancer, where you can encrypt a person onto a chip and then like visit them. Except in this, you put the chip in your brain, and now you're not supposed to put that chip in your brain. Now Keanu Reeves is you.
Give me two.
I know. So now you basically have like a split personality thing for the rest of the game. And you have essentially 6 months to live, at which point Keanu Reeves is going to take over your body. You're given by
We should all do
someone.
that.
Just like real
It
life.
would be a better world.
So reason I'm bringing this up, the game, not the game, I mean, a character in the game presents you with two options. She gives you a thing of blue pills and a thing of orange pills. They're like red orange. So she basically tells you like you can take the blue and it'll block him out and it'll slow down the process. But if at the end it's just getting like way too painful, you can take the red ones and just like unleash Keanu. So in the game, you take like the orange red pills for maximum Keanu. So I just think it's funny.
I feel like that's too much of a ripoff, especially because
it's
Keanu.
everything. It's mostly Neuromancer, but it's a lot of. I mean,
Let's just steal from everything.
yeah, and Cyberpunk, it's the game's based on a board game that's been around I think since the 80s. So
I was disappointed overall in the game.
Have you
Just
played the
gonna
board
say.
game?
or a tabletop game, I guess more.
I'd like to try it.
It's supposed to be very good. It's been around a long time. So yeah, I don't know which. I don't know. I'd have to think long and hard about which pill. I think saying that if you went red first and then had the option to go back in, that's probably an even more interesting question.
Yeah, I would go back in if I knew what it was like on the outside.
I might as
I
well.
probably would too.
And be like,
And if you just like have uncontrovertible proof, like I ain't going to be the one to turn this around.
Well,
But then
yeah,
again,
that
you might
changes
have
things.
some
So-
hopes of like maybe I can do something.
it was,
You should, but you know, Joey Pants said it's been 9 years he's been out or something. So
I don't know.
So, the one question I want us to end on for this part, before getting into the next part, what could the Matrix Resurrections possibly be about?
But I think we talked about this.
Yeah, a little bit, but just so we end on our expectations. And what do you and do you think you're going to like it? Have you guys watched the trailers?
No.
I've seen the trailers.
I think like I was saying before, it's like the robots are up to something, and because it seems like they don't know who they are, and the robots are like somehow, I don't know, used a human EMP, wiped their memory, and now they're back in the Matrix.
Yeah, we saw Neo die at the end of Revolutions in a sort of fiery Jesus pose. We saw
don't know
Trinity
if he
die
died.
shortly before that. Well, we know Trinity died.
But that was in the Matrix, right?
No,
Oh no, that was in real life. Yeah, never mind.
And plus, it shouldn't. You know, if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life.
Well,
Neo
Keanu.
could have
Power of love.
like been still in the Matrix, kind of like at the end of the second
I'm
one.
assuming
Is
it's something like that,
something like that. I think we're
or it's not,
definitely
and
gonna
it's a
see-
new incarnation. It seems like it's probably a new Matrix at least.
That's my idea.
It really doesn't matter because we have to see him again and we have to see Smith again because they're both integral parts of the Matrix. We know that the Matrix doesn't work without them. So like we know they have to be in there to some extent. Did they recast Elron?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if it's recasting. So
Yeah, what
there
about
seems to be setting up that it's.
Did
you
he
know,
die?
We don't know.
Well, he didn't die, but he's not in this movie.
No,
Unless,
in real life.
No,
no. Larry's still kicking around.
That's why I was wondering, like, who did they recast him as? Oh, because he died, so it'd be a new person.
It seems to be setting up a kind of cycle thing, which, well, not setting up. That's obviously very well established in here. But Yahya Abdul-Mateen is in there, seeming to be in the Morpheus role based on the trailers. And there's other characters who seem like they're, you know, there's one of the latest trailers is talking about deja vu a lot. So
Well, so the Neo always picks 17 people to start it up again. Morpheus is probably always one of those 17. Trinity is probably always one of those 17. He probably has to pick a cipher as one of those 17. It's I don't know.
Yeah, it's-
I wonder if so Neo dies, I guess, or quote dies, but maybe he's still like his memory, or like he's still like in a part of the code
Okay.
that like can come back. But he's in the Matrix. The real world doesn't have the Matrix. The real world robots made the promise with Neo, but Neo is dead in the real world, but he's still in the Matrix. So the robots might try to pull some shit. But Neo's stuck in that world. So the whole movie could be him trying to get out of that world to save humanity again.
That'd be interesting.
yeah, I think
I'd be a
it's
little
either
upset if
that
was
or
it, but
I mean, maybe Neo's a program now, and I feel like that's not really an interesting vein for them to mine, but they could.
Maybe I don't know. I'm trying to just
think-
think of it like
I
from a
think it's-
cultural perspective of like where would they have gone from like what was the 90s like as a trans person to what is now like as a trans
I
person.
think
How would you mirror that in a Matrix world?
Marginally better.
I think it's going to be wild
but
in a
still
very
like
fun
half the country
way,
being
you know?
real shitty about it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's gonna be wet
There
and
you
wild. I
go.
think it's
It's
gonna be
Neo
great.
back in the Matrix, but half of the Matrix really mad at him for fighting the robots.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
That could be.
Yeah.
I think it's the next
Some anger
rendition
programs,
of
too.
him. Like it's the seventh
Treating him
generation
like
or
shit.
whatever.
He has like a terrible
That's my
life.
guess.
Unlike the big blockbuster movie I saw,
Spitballing.
unlike the big blockbuster movie I saw last night, I'm expecting to be quite surprised by whatever happens in this movie.
Oh, guaranteed. I think no matter what happens, I'll be very surprised.
I think
don't
it's gonna be
anything
really
we've
weird
said
in a
is
fun
even
way.
Close, to be
The
honest.
weirder
with
the
you.
better.
Yes, that I think that's the only part that we're being on about is that it's going to be weird.
The only thing that matters is in the trailer, he said, I still know Kung Fu. And that's fucking
That is
awesome.
fun.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, they know their audience.
I like when people don't take themselves too seriously.
So some reviews have already dropped for it. The people that I follow and trust say they loved it.
All right.
The dumb people have said they don't love it. So let's hope we're like the smart people.
What does Don Cheadle say?
I don't know if Don Cheadle's seen it.
That's
He's
a
not.
good question.
Yeah,
I
that's
a
trust
critic.
that man.
All right, new podcast we make is What Does Don Cheadle Say? And we just talk about what Don Cheadle says.
WWDC.
WWDC.
What does
I think we're running out of steam.
D.
yeah.
WWDCD.
We always talk about Don Cheadle, Ben. I don't know what you're talking about.
About the Muppets.
Wait, what's something that we always bring up? I feel like we gotta bring cats? No.
No, Mank.
Listen to the next
We haven't
episode.
talked about Mank
Fuck
once.
Mank. All right.
It's only with Greg and
Podcast
Ray.
over.
Podcast
Watch
over.
The
We're
Matrix.
done.
You'll hear from us very soon, if not in the same podcast, about the next movie.
All right. Thanks for listening so far.
Out.
Take a break if you need to and come back for part 2.
We'll see you soon.
You're gonna be real late to the movies.
Bye.